Hello and welcome everybody to another lovely Wednesday night and another lovely edition of the Black Pill Stream. My name is Spencer Bakuli. I'm the Bounding Into Comics Associate Editor, and I will be your host tonight as we talk the day's pop culture news, entertainment news, video game news, manga news, anime news, comic books, everything in between. If you've come to the show before, I'm sure you know exactly how this all goes down. If you're new, thanks for joining. It's awesome to have you. As you can see, it's still me on my own today. John will be out of the office until I believe tomorrow. So Boss Man will be back tomorrow. Tonight we have a pretty big show. Lots of stuff happened today alone. We'll definitely be talking the Ruby Rose Batwoman drama. We'll probably get really into the Superman motto drama and or not drama, but it's the change around it. And then probably just a grab bag of topics out of there. Probably touch on the Why the Last Man cancellation because that's hilarious. And then we'll talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. Obviously, I'm here to hang out with all of you. It's an honor for me to hang out with you guys. So I'm just happy everybody's here. And with that, let's get started. And I'm going to start off by going to the chat and seeing who's around, what's going on. So first up, oh, wow. First today was Bunny. What's up, Bunny? Hi. Always good to hang out with you. Yes, to those who recognize how bad the show is, Batwoman should heretofore be known as Guano. It should be Guano Woman because then that's like the superhero moniker, right? We've got DZ3. Hello, missed last week because of work, but I am back this week. Yeah, always glad to have you, DZ3. It's definitely always, yeah, like I said, glad you have the time off work today to come hang out with us. Miss Martin Muses. Hello, always a pleasure to see you. It always just brings a smile to my face to see you grace our streams. What's up, Lopter? Dang, I always forget the mashup of all your names that I made. The Lopter, Loki, Alexstein, or something like that. Anyway, what's up, buddy? How's it going? Ravul, hail! How's it going, buddy? Down there with the Char avatar, as always, the best. It always makes you happy to see the man who was right. World's End Harem and Parallel Paradise are both far superior to Why the Last Man. I don't know. I really, really like Why the Last Man, the comic book. We'll probably get into it as we go, but I do enjoy World's End Harem. I have not watched or read Parallel Paradise yet. Oh, perfect. There's Nerdigans. I was just about to bring her up. Yesterday, I believe, on the Bounding Babel episode I hosted yesterday, Nerdigans was talking about alternatives to Why the Last Man in these sort of harem animes that do the story way better, in her opinion. So I'm glad she's here to talk. Drop that knowledge on us. Good to see you too, Tahillim. Always a pleasure. I've been watching a lot of your review videos. Man, you've been dropping content like crazy. I'm loving it. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, and so, like I said, Nerdigans showed up right when I was talking to Rahul. Perfect timing. Just finished recording a live reaction for the new Ranger Reject manga chapter. Damn, I missed that manga. Oh, that's awesome. I hope you're uploading it while you're watching. You know, kill two birds with one stone. And yes, everybody, rip Chris Ayers. If you haven't heard, last night, the second Funimation voice actor for Frieza, who has been doing the voice since 2009 with the start of Dragon Ball Kai. So he's appeared as Frieza in things like Dragon Ball FighterZ, Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, Dragon Ball Super Broly, Resurrection of F was pretty much his entire show. He unfortunately passed away last night after a long battle with COPD. It affects your breathing and makes it hard to breathe, and his body just finally, went to rest. So anyway, yeah, rest in peace, Chris Ayers. You were a great Frieza, and yeah, I hope you're fine. I hope you're in heaven, but I hope you're not wrapped up in a cocoon being danced around by a bunch of weird angel children. Yeah, DZ, only me today. Boss Man's out on vacation, so I'm running the show. Yeah. Oh, who doesn't love Az's meltdowns with Batwoman? At this point, I feel bad for him because we all know how bad the show is, and it keeps going. Like, it just keeps going. And I feel like Az is sitting there, like, every episode or like season 1 finale. All right, it's over. Finally, I'm out. Then you get the season 2 announcement, and he's like, "Oh, I gotta watch it." Then he has to watch season 2. Then he gets to the end of season 2, and he's like, "Finally, maybe it can end." And they're like, "Nope, here's season 3." Poor Az. Yep, uploading it now. That's awesome, Nerdigans. I'll probably watch it when we're done here. Bunny with a keyboard. As I've said before, a show can be bad without being woke, but if the best entertainment is made woke, it'll be garbage. That's completely true. I mean, we've seen it before. There are lots of bad shows and bad movies that aren't particularly woke in the sense of the film story and stuff, but they just suck. But we also have seen so many examples of when they focus on that woke, and that is their key, that is their intention, that's all they care about. That's when the story suffers. Look at Loki. We know that one of the they focused way too hard on Loki's sexuality and that weirdness which again didn't even amount to anything. That's probably my bigger problem, is that for all my LGBT homies out there, stop accepting these awful crumbs. If I were gay, I'm not even gay, and I feel insulted when Marvel does crap like this, where they're, oh, here's your first gay hero. Here's this great gay hero. It's going to be fantastic. And then it's just it's a scene that's cuttable from China, which is exactly what, if I don't know if anybody saw right before we went live, I published an article about Kevin Feige promised that, I might as well pull it up. We'll get into talking about it. Look at that. We're already jumping in. Fastos. Sounds like an Egyptian god, Fastos. So a couple days ago at the Eternals red carpet premiere, Kevin Feige basically told he confirmed that yes, Fastos is just the start of gay characters in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And if you saw previous reporting on it, you know that Fastos is the black guy here, and he has a husband and a son, and his son makes a Superman reference about what's his name, Makari. Because he's like, oh, he shoots lasers from his eyes and wears a cape like Superman, blah, blah, blah. But so there are two things with this. There is the Kevin Feige promises there have been gay. He says this is just the start of gay heroes in the MCU, right? So he said there have been gay heroes before in the comics. It is more than pastime in the movies. It's just the start. So the first thing I want to touch on here is I know that Nerdigans was there yesterday, and I think Bunny was there for a little bit yesterday, but I touched upon this on Bounding Babel yesterday. How many times do I have to say that word before you know what day I'm talking about? But on Bounding Babel, I touched upon how I'm sick and tired of people who are in power criticizing the people who aren't in power for the lack of whatever changes they want to see. So yesterday, I was talking about how in the wake of the Gabby Petito case and her murder, all the news outlets were going, oh, why is there, it is a problem in true crime. Why does the media only focus on young white women? What about the colored women? What about all this? And it's like, dude, you don't get to ask why when it's your fault. You are the media. Why aren't you reporting on more stuff? Get out of here. And then again, like Feige here, it's more than past time for gay heroes in movies. It's like, dude, you don't get to pull that card as if you're breaking some sort of barrier, because you have had the power to do this the entire time. So don't even get out of your own ass. But on the to link it back to my original point, this is the main scene right here where they show that Fastos is gay. It's when they're going around and they're recruiting all the Eternals again. I guarantee that this scene is just going to get cut from China or wherever you need to put it, because I almost highly doubt there's anything super important in the scene, and you could probably just hand wave it away. I know for a fact that they've done it before. We've seen it before with Star Wars. We've seen it with the therapy group in Avengers. It's all just playing with you. It's all fake because they're corporations. They don't care about you. Let's see. I lost my StreamYard. I always do this. Let's see. Floki failed because of the feminist writer. Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. There was that one writer who was just so all about Loki's sexuality and exploring that they focused on that. But then they focused on this completely minuscule thing that didn't really impact anything. So everything else kind of just went to the wayside, and we all sort of suffered for it. With Loki, people insisted Loki being bi fits the mythos. I then told them that I believe Marvel cared about the mythos when a redheaded Thor called Heimdall the white god. Yeah, that's kind of that's a really good argument, Bunny. I never actually thought about that. I did see that argument a lot when Loki was out. Loki being bi fits the mythos. to an extent, I would honestly say what fits Loki more is the actual definition of pansexual, like Zeus. You know, all those gods back in the day, they would literally get with anything that moved. Like, that was just what they did. And so that, like, to me, that is an appropriate use of the term pansexual for Loki and for Zeus and all those gods who had sex with women and men and animals and everything. So by like the narrative is not one-to-one and it doesn't work. And you're completely right. If they want to start caring about the mythos now, we gotta, like, you already thrown it all out the window with Heimdall and Thor and all this other stuff. So I'm completely there with you, Bunny. Iron Sword, what is going on? Nice to see you, man. I was just talking about Bounding Babel from the other day. Identity politics is destroying the media. Like, that's just a hand down fact. Because again, focusing on the wrong things instead of focusing on telling the story. Not only do we have way too many Eternals for one movie to ever learn them all, but now we have their families to learn also. Dude. So today was the first time I ever watched the final Eternals trailer, the one they put out a couple days ago, where it shows like the red celestial or whatever, and then it shows Angelina Jolie talking to the four-eyed alien thing, whatever it's supposed to be, probably another celestial thing or whatever. But yeah, so I was watching that trailer, and I'm with you, Bunny. There's just too many people. It's a Justice League problem, or a Batman versus Superman problem, where Snyder tried to jam everything into those two movies instead of giving them time to breathe and let them develop on their own, so that we know going into these team up. Again, look at how Avengers worked versus Justice League. Avengers, you set up their solo films, so we got to know the characters and their backstories and their motivations and who they are. So when they showed up in Avengers 1 or Assemble, depending on where you live in the world, you didn't need to spend time on that. We didn't need to give 20 minutes to Captain America to explain who he is or explore why Black Widow was doing yada, yada, yada. And Justice League, on the other hand, was, oh, we got to introduce this guy. Then we got to introduce that guy. Then we got to introduce this and that and this. I mean, if you watch the Snyder Cut, it is 3 hours of this, essentially, of explaining every element, every character in the movie. And that does not make for a good piece of entertainment, honestly. And yeah, I really hope the families are just like, no, I'm not against like introducing families or having a family as a character. Like, who would be? That's absurd, because families are in everything. But it's just the fact that they're piling on more characters on top of the Eternals. I mean, you're already going to have most of the Eternals probably not having that much screen time. We all know how Marvel goes, right? It's going to end in a big CGI battle. So we got to look at whose powers are sort of qualified for that. You've got, from what we've seen in the trailers, you've got Khalil Nunjani. I never know how to say his name right. You've got Angelina Jolie. You've got the main guy, Makari, and then you've got, that's the only like weaponeers I can think of. Everybody else has abilities, but they're not so much fighting powers. Like, I don't know what Phastos is going to do in the movie. So I feel like by the end, they're going to just let most of them sit on the sideline while like 3 or 4 are doing the final fight. Was fun yesterday doing a live stream on thoughts, theories, and spoilers on Jay Nakamura and Super Sons on my channel. I saw that review was up. I didn't get a chance or I saw that stream was up. I didn't get a chance to look at it yet because it's long, but that's not a downside. The downside is not that it's long. The downside is I've just been swamped this week, obviously taking care of the site and running everything, but it is definitely on my list to watch. Maybe I'll watch it tonight after I watch Nerdigan's video when we're done here. But if you want some Jay Nakamura and Super Sons talk, this is not really what the plan was, but last night I was streaming some Dragon Ball Fighters in honor of Chris Ayers, and I don't know, I guess, people were coming in and out of the stream all night, but I was the only person who really stuck around was Deviant Porg. I'm sure everybody knows our boy Porg. Love that guy. But he and I spent probably about 2 hours talking just pure comic books, and we hit a lot on the Nakamura Super Sun stuff. I want to touch, I think there's a lot of stuff we should touch upon on the Jay Nakamura and Superman stuff. We'll probably touch on it more later when we talk about the motto, but there's a lot I have to say about Jay. Let's keep going. What else we got? Nerdigans, watching the Netflix walkout protest stream was frustrating. These idiots said no masculine women, as if tomboys, butch lesbians, and drag kings don't exist. That's the thing, Bunny. That's the thing, Nerdigans. It is always word games with them. It is always them changing the rules to always be in the right. I don't know how many people here ever read the comic strip Calvin and Hobbes. It was a big thing for me. It defined me growing up. Like, I read it when I was like 6 and haven't stopped. But there's a game Calvin and his pet tiger play called Calvin Ball, which literally is just a game where you make up the rules as you go. So, you catch the ball. Oh, no. Hey, you're stepping on the Frog Kingdom. Now you have to ribbit 5 times and spin around. Total, like, kids game, right? But the whole point is that they just keep changing the rules. That's what happens when you engage in discussions with woke crowds like this, or like identity politicians, for lack of a better term. They always change these definitions, and they always change it in such a, what is the right word here? It's like sinister, but also subtle way, where like they will shift the definition where it's kind of, it is almost essentially what you say it is, but they'll make it so whatever you said is offensive. So like this, I'll point to Nerdigans here. They say no masculine women exist. Even though you go, I know masculine women exist. I know that tomboys, butch lesbians, and drag kings exist. Like, what are you talking about? There are no masculine women. They'll go, no. By masculine women, I mean specifically like a trans woman. And it's like, yo, you changed that rule in the middle of this. You're using a very specific term or a very specific definition that probably 99.9% of people on this planet would never know that was what you were talking about. You were they obfuscate everything on purpose, because in the smoke, they can continually cry wolf and can't be proven wrong. Because if they keep that smoke up, they can keep going, oh, offensive, hate, bigot, all that stuff. And if the smoke is there, you go, okay, I can see it, but I can't say it's not there. So at least for now, I guess I kind of have to maybe assume that there might be a wolf out in the smoke. But the second the smoke clears and everybody's on the same field, it becomes very evident that there is no wolf there. That you are the girl, the boy crying woke wolf, right? So yeah, the Netflix stuff is awful. I will say, so I'm sure you guys all know, at least mine and John's and Dawn's, and I guess I'll just go ahead and say the staff's feelings towards Vito Gasaldi. We know that he always tries to pick fights with us, always tries to lie about us, yada yada. I don't need to get into all the Vito stuff. I have threads upon threads on my Twitter account that you can read. Just search for his username. You can see me blowing him out. But I will give Vito credit. He went to that Netflix walkout today with a sign that just said, like, Dave Chappelle is funny. And there's recorded video of these protesters losing their mind at him. And it's like, again, like, I'm so surprised that I'm saying this about Vito, because he was like the most level-headed, direct, and like, for example, there's a moment where he's holding his sign and they're recording and they're screaming at him, like, you can't, like, get out of here. He's hurtful, blah, blah, blah. And Vito just goes, do I not get the same free speech rights you do? He doesn't insult them. He doesn't egg them on. He just says that one thing. And they lose their mind to the point where they rip his sign. They reach for it. They rip it off. And Vito was using like a fence post, like, just classic sign, or yeah, like, picket sign, picket fence, duh. And the second they rip it off, all these people start shouting, he's got a weapon. He's got a weapon. Oh my God, he's violent. And Vito just starts laughing, and he puts the picket down and just keeps laughing. And it's just fantastic. He's there with somebody else. I'm not entirely sure who the other guy was, but those two dudes, those are the best types of takedowns. You don't need to go and egg them on and try to make them look ridiculous. If you look level-headed, just let them make a fool of themselves. That's all you ever have to do. Let me get back to the chat. Yes, DC3, The Eternals is not going to play in China from what I hear. I remember it has something to do with the director. So what it was years ago, Chloe Zhao gave an interview. I forget. It's sometime in the last 5, 6, 10 years, where she was talking about, she grew up in communist China and she eventually emigrated and got out. So she's talking in this interview about how, when you're in China, you're sort of told all of these things about how life is, how the world works. And then if the second you just step out of it, you realize that that's not true, that that's not how the world works. So with that, you start wondering, what else have I been lied to about? And your eyes start opening up more. And that's what I learned during my education in the West. It's along those lines. I'm obviously paraphrasing because I don't have the exact quote in front of me. But of course, what do you think? China lost their minds. They blacklisted that. I'm pretty sure they put out a statement like condemning Zhao, being like we don't represent, she doesn't represent us or something. It was weird. But yes, that is why, yeah, like Ravul said, Eternals will not be shown in China because of Chloe Zhao. Is that Eternals 3.33? You will not be shown in China? Zax, what's going on, buddy? Dread Pirate Mikey, yo, hail. I'm glad to see you guys. I love seeing you. Yeah, for Loki, I agree with you. The mythological Acer, but absolutely not for the dude who can't shapeshift. That's the thing, is they didn't even keep those powers for him. It's a mess. It's them trying to pull out all these cards that go, haha, gotcha, haha, gotcha, haha, gotcha. And we're all just sitting here going, no, you didn't. You're just throwing up more smoke. You're not getting at the point of what I'm talking about. Yeah, that was a Justice League problem, or Eternals is a Justice League problem times 10. At least people have an idea of who Batman is. I can't name any of the Eternals. I cannot either. I can name, again, you can even see me like stumbling. Like Makari, I think, is the main one. And again, I've read Eternals comics. I've read every run that they've been in except for the current awful one or whatever. It's New Marvel. Who reads that anymore? So yeah, even going in, people, you have to now just establish these characters in people's minds. Because again, like Zax is saying, at least with Batman, you have an idea from pop culture, right? You get to go, you go into a movie, and you might not know what this Batman is specifically, right? But you know he's Batman. You know he's got the cape, he's got the batarangs, the tech, he's got no powers, he's a rich boy. It's easy. But with Phastos, what do you know about Phastos? Bunny with the keyboard. Oh, and for the Eternals, since there's only one white male, apparently, is it even worth guessing that he's a traitor, or is that a given? But I'm going to give, so Bunny, I'm going to give everybody in the chat 5 minutes. If you don't want, or not even 5 minutes, I'm going to give them 2 minutes. If you don't want to hear any Eternal spoilers or even potential spoilers whatsoever, I'm going to give you 2 minutes to hop off the stream. At 6:30, I am going to talk to Bunny about some Eternal spoilers real quick. And if you want to hear them, you can stick around for them. If not, come back in maybe, let's say 10 minutes. Come back at 6:40, and I'll be done with Eternal spoilers at that point. Let's see. Oh, that's awesome, Nerdigans. You've been recording all day. I did see the new Dragon Ball Super chapter. Don't know how I really feel about it. I don't know if Bardock really needed to be the like reluctant hero, like he's sort of like a what's the best way? He's almost like a Hulk right now, where it's like, or like Hulk from Earth's Mightiest Heroes. Again, if you've been watching any of these live streams this week or the past week, you know how much I am all about Earth's Mightiest Heroes right now. But yeah, so I'm not sure how I like that, but I'm pretty sure like this is the first time Bardock's shown up in the manga, right? Or at least had like an appearance. So I'm pretty stoked on that. I've always loved Bardock. Why are they targeting teenagers for the target of changing gay characters or characters gay? Because, and there's actually something to this, Ragu Overlord. Teenagers and people who are stuck in their teenage years are the ones that this kind of identity politics works on. Because for kids, for teenagers, it gives them that sort of sense of, this is something I can, like, they're speaking to me. It's something different. My parents don't understand it. I can rebel. Like, I'm going to be honest with you guys. Like, I know that there are a lot of us, like John included. I know Josh, one of our other writers included, disagrees with this viewpoint. But like, I personally, I'm cool with trans people. I genuinely think there probably are a very small percentage of people who have a legitimate mental thing where that helps. But 99.9999% of the people declaring they're trans nowadays, I would bet good amounts of money that it's trend. it's just to trend. They're trans trenders, as I like to refer to them, because they're only doing this to be trendy because it's now the cool, edgy dogma to be against. Kind of just like, remember when everybody was goth back in like the 90s, or everybody was metrosexual in the early 2000s? Like, it's just, or how, you know, just before last year, everybody wanted to be a nerd was chic or whatever. Like, it's just that kind of thing over and over again. In 5-10 years, we're going to get a new thing for them to use as a rebellious identity, and this'll all fly over. Okay, I'm going to get back to everybody, I promise, but it is 6:30, so I want to go to Bunny with a keyboard for Eternals. What's a picture I can put here? Hey, Fastos. We'll put Fastos here. Kind of like that poster anyway. So, from what there are a couple rumors going around right now about the ending and the end credit scenes of Eternals. The big one, or I don't know if I'd say big one, but the one that has pretty much been established and confirmed is, as somebody said earlier in the chat, what's his name? Harry Styles, the guy from One Direction. He will be playing Eros, Star Fox, Thanos' brother, which is funny because I don't know how you pull off that character in this day and age. Because Eros' whole thing is, you know, he emits pheromones. He seduces you. He plays on romance and physical connection and the sense of Eros. Duh, right? How do you play that off in an atmosphere where almost any sort of interaction can be grounds for an accusation of misconduct, right? Like, I don't know how you do it. In 2007, 6, whatever that run, incredibly, I can't believe I'm about to say his name, Dan Slott's run on She-Hulk back in the day before he went insane. It dealt a lot with like her lawyer, like being a lawyer in court. And one of her cases was defending Eros on a sexual assault charge because of his powers. And so, like, if you're already kind of talking about that back then, before you got woke, how's it going to happen now? But I digress. So that's one spoiler, is Star Fox shows up. Gosh, I always say that I think of Nintendo 64, best game ever made, Star Fox 64. Always got to go the hard route, go to Venom 2, find your dad. But the second so then there are some other rumors floating around. One is that the traitor is actually not Makari or whoever it is, the lead white guy. It's actually Angelina Jolie, which is also not really a surprise if you think about it from a storyteller's perspective, because that's kind of how they were setting her up. You know, she's the big, powerful, mystical figure, the leader, the one that like had to make the hard decision. I don't know. I can just see that that's what they were building to, and so it's really obvious. So you get that. You also get so apparently and this comes from Porg, who also said he couldn't verify the rumor, but you know, I trust my boy. Apparently the end credit scene shows Kit Harington being spoken to by the Black Blade, you know, and if you're familiar with the comics at all, that's kind of his whole thing as the Black Knight. He gets his powers from the sword. The sword is magical, but also semi-cursed, and like eats at him when he uses it. So the end credits is just him finding the sword and hearing it talk to him. So I'm assuming it's probably him in a room, hears a voice, turns around, the sword is in the foreground and blurry, and he walks towards it, and it starts to get more in focus, and then it is in focus, and that's when it says like, grab me, and then it just like cuts or something, right? So there's that. But then apparently, and this made me laugh super hard because it is so antithetical to everything they were trying to put forward about Eternals being super diverse. Eternals has like, Eternals has like a bunch of characters having sex apparently, but it's all like the white guy having sex with the Asian women, which is just like super funny to me, because that can easily be looked at as a stereotype, right? Like, I could, if I really wanted to, I see how the woke crowd can handle that. So again, I don't know what they're doing here, and it's getting weird. So those are the big spoilers. Apparently it's Star Fox, and then it is the Black Blade. Let's see. Let me jump to that. Let me jump down to the chat, see what y'all are saying. Yeah, exactly, OC Steve. Star Foxes, anything that moves. Fatso, I'll call anybody. I'll call somebody a fatso. Who did I call a fatso? Yeah, please take it. Transgenders. It's the one I use all the time because, again, I don't say no trans people because, again, I personally believe there's a very small percentage of people who actually are, but not most of the population like we're seeing, or like not like everybody who's coming out now. Oh, dude, Josh just dropped the biggest Eternal spoiler. The movie will suck. Oh, dude, I can't believe it. I didn't see that coming. Nothing in the trailers made me see that coming. And definitely not the shots of them shooting on a beach with green screen mats and trying to act like I hate when MCU stands see a new movie because they lose their minds and they go, cinematography, look at the cinematography. And I'm like, it's a green screen. There, like, you could, it's not really cinematography when you can do anything you really want. You know what I mean? It's so weird. Like one of my favorite memes from the last couple. Oh no, where'd the Eternals picture go? Oh, there it is. It was just, that was weird. Is like remember when they were doing like you literally changed my, or like, you've changed my life, thank you for everything, is on like one side somebody saying that, and then on the other side is just like, bruh, I am just a blank. I saw one of those where it was like an MCU stand, and it was like, thank you for changing my life, and then it was like, bruh, I'm just a green screen, and that joke always sticks out in my mind. Yeah, DC3, that's essentially what metrosexual was. It was kind of like straight men who like do beauty routines and take care of themselves in that sort of traditional beauty sense. It's like manicures and getting your hair cut and all that kind of weird stuff. I didn't engage in that, so it wasn't for me, but that's what it was. Yeah, exactly. You can't introduce this many characters. I don't care whose brother or cousin it is. It's way too much. Did they explain why they didn't interfere with Thanos? That is more important. They did. It's in that trailer. It's basically it's the same. They're still running off the excuse from the first trailer of, we're not supposed to intervene. No matter what happens, we have to let the humans do their own thing. And so that's the explanation. But the explanation is, we're not allowed to do anything unless it's deviant related. So that's what, I guess that's how they're getting around it, but it still makes no sense. Again, I will point to the Watcher, who broke his oath to stop Galactus from eating the planet. He went to the Fantastic Four and was like, yo, get ready, let me help. So again, there is no good excuse for why they didn't interfere with Thanos. There is just no excuse. Yeah, exactly. Thank you. Nerdigans just dropped right on it. I thought no more Asian fetishes, though. Exactly. That's the point. Like, that's what I know they're going to get railed over. And I kind of cannot wait, because at this point, it's just Schadenfreude. Like, I want them suffering, like Marvel and Disney suffering, makes me happy. Fisto, aka Fatso. Yeah. I hope Kit Sword gives him a lecture. I hope it quips. I hope when he eventually shows up in Eternals 2, I hope the sword quips when he starts swinging it. Like, oh, that was a good cut. No, I don't. I don't really wish that, but I know that that's what's going to happen. Let's see. Yeah, I can tag you in, Steve. Give me a second. Let's see. After the spoilers of Eternals, it sounds even more uninteresting. Man, I want to love Marvel again, but all the virtue signaling is such a turnoff. That's what this phase is. This is such a directionless phase. This is a phase of flailing. This is the flailing phase, because look at the movies we've gotten so far, right? We've gotten Black Widow, which was made way too late, like way too late. It should have been made phase 2, right? So it's kind of like a waste of a movie that doesn't really add to the narrative anymore. Then you get Shang-Chi, which is just whatever. Like, no, it's not really. I've not heard that great of praise for it. Everything I've seen from it is pretty bad. I know that it ends in a giant CGI battle. So at best, here, I'll be generous. At best, you've got a mid movie, right? So you've got a movie that's way too late, a mid movie and then Eternals. So, and between Eternals and Shang-Chi, you're sort of scraping the bottom of the barrel here. I was talking with Deviant Porg about this last night on my stream, and you have so many other characters to focus on before the Eternals, right? And obviously the big one that comes to mind are the X-Men. You have the rights back. Why aren't you focusing more energy on that? And yes, I understand that it wasn't a done deal, that they didn't know they had the rights to the X-Men, but I just feel that there are so many other characters that could fill the spot, that like this movie slot. And it's just weird. We could have gotten another Hulk movie, like a Hulk solo film, which again, I know the rumors of World War Hulk are out there, so we might, but we could have had one now. We could have had, I'm just going to say we could have had Ant-Man 3 by now, but that's just because I really like Ant-Man. Like, I just love Paul Rudd. Number 2 was pretty bad, or it was just like generic. It just wasn't anything, but one's still probably up there on my MCU list. Yeah, Calvin and Hobbes rocked, and the originals refused to sell the rights, so it won't go woke. I did see that. He did that years ago. He's like, nobody is touching this. Leave it alone. I'm done. And it's not even, he didn't even refuse because of woke. He refused because he saw that this woke is something that is representative of what could happen to his work, that it could be bastardized, that it could be taken out of his control, turned into something it wasn't, used as a symbol for something it didn't mean to represent, So I'm always down with Bill Watterson. He's the man. Not super familiar with Star Fox. Is he bisexual? If not, he probably will be now. I believe he is. I believe Star Fox is bi because of his powers and everything. Here, I'll even look it up. Let's see. Bisexual Star Fox. Oh man, I'm gonna get really bad Nintendo results, aren't I? I guess I don't know. There's no definitive answer. He tries to use his powers on men. I'm pretty sure he's bisexual, for what it's worth. That's my own. I'm throwing that out there. Oh no, it jumped. Nerdigans. We'll have an article on that tomorrow. The Marvel's director blames Captain America for the snap because he didn't sacrifice Vision. It's like these people don't like. Yes, there's that logical point of, if he just sacrificed Vision, we would have been fine. But these people don't understand like friendship or heroism or connection. Because like you tell me, would you, Nerdigans, Ravul, Volume Dealer, Mitch, Bunny, Chris Neville, would any of you, if let's say one of your really close friends, it was either kill him and save the world or let him live and there's a slimmer chance of saving the world? Even though we know like that binary choice is like, yes, for the greater good, I highly doubt any of us are going to be able to act on that. No, would you be able to go and sacrifice one of your best friends just willy-nilly like that? Like, that's the thing. Again, the people in charge of all these things don't get what they're in charge of. It's the exact same thing with when we bring in celebrities or movie directors and writers into comic books. That's not the medium they know. They don't respect that medium as that medium. They just want to write a movie, or they want to write what they know. And so it just becomes this garbled mess. Go look at the awful J.J. Abrams book. Go look at the awful Amelia Clark book, Mom, from Image. That is like the, again, masterclass on how to not write a book. What I don't get here is, how do you have a race of aliens that are exactly like humans on Earth? That, again, yeah, that's the thing, is Marvel with their aliens, they're all very human-like. The Deviants, the Celestial, so I think in the comics at some point, weren't the Eternals very closely linked to the actual evolution of humans into from Cro-Magnon to humans? So I think there's something like that. But again, it's more, it's just more of that sort of Jack Kirby 1960s idea of space. Because if you look at the Eternals, you can see a very similar makeup and theme in the New Gods, right? They all are pretty human, save Thanos, or save Darkseid. And that was sort of the time back then. Like I'm kind of with you, Volume Dealer. I like seeing aliens that are more alien. You can still be bipedal, but to look just like humans, it's off to me. Yeah, exactly. DZ3 and what Steve is saying here. Thanos is an eternal deviant hybrid, but Thanos is a deviant. Exactly. Like it doesn't make sense unless they change the fact that he's a deviant. But I'm pretty sure they already said he was a deviant in one of the movies. So who knows? They have just the dullest color palette for the Eternals. Agreed. It's this really, for lack of a better term, icky, muted, like gray almost. Somebody on Twitter was complaining about, again, going back to that shot of the green screen filming on the beach for Eternals. They were saying, why does the set look like that? Like, it's so gross. You couldn't have shot on a better day or done it on a green screen. And a lot of people were going, have you ever been to the beach? Like, this is just kind of what it is. Like, that's what happens. And that's true. Beaches can be overcast and gloomy and gross like that. But what I'm getting at is that is just a momentary sort of thing. It's a roll of the tide, no pun intended, whether it'll be sunny or muted and gross. But they took that muted and gross and threw it on everything. So now everything's got that sort of just dull Zack Snyder-y palette almost, even though I would argue Zack Snyder plays with colors a little bit more. Like that, and that's what really bugs me. It's Jack Kirby stuff, right? Pardon me again. It's Jack Kirby stuff. So why aren't you playing up the colors? Why aren't you playing up the Kirby crackle? The fantasy of it all. It just clashes with what Marvel wants to do. Marvel wants grounded, but the thing with Kirby's creations is that they are so fantastical. Like even DC knows that. They still let the new gods be fantastical new gods. They're not, interns at a coffee shop on Earth yet. I can never believe that it wouldn't be seen as the Watcher not breaking his oath if he was running around like the Eternals are doing. What do you mean? I can never believe that it wouldn't be seen as the Watcher not breaking his oath. What do you mean, Bunny? I think the wording is just confusing me. Yeah, Celestial see the planets with life. That's what I'm pretty sure. And then I'm pretty sure there's because I know there's, what's his name? The High Evolutionary is involved in all of this crap too, which now you're bringing in mutants and X-Men. And once the X-Men get involved, come on, guys. We all know that once the X-Men get involved, continuity just goes woohoo. Does his friend have a hot soon-to-be widow? That's a good point. We need to have that debate. Regarding the binary choice of sacrificing your friend, the friend is the only one who can make the choice. It's unacceptable to make that choice for them. They can sacrifice themselves. Sacrificing them is wrong. That agreed. I actually kind of agree with that because you can have the hero sacrifice themselves, like we saw with Iron Man and Black Widow and I guess kind of Vision, or not really because they were fighting to save him. But then you have you can't sacrifice somebody else because that's like Thanos sacrificing Gamora, right? She didn't agree to that. So that's pretty much just murder. So I'm there with you, Bunny. Yeah, they rebuilt Vision without the Mind Stone. He's fine. That's a good point. Even though it's like a fake pseudo Mind Stone, whatever it was. Yeah, Eternals are also related to the Inhumans, and now you bring in the Inhumans, and now it gets even worse. Woke ideology storytelling seems to hate male friendship, traditional feminine roles, evil female villains, male-female romance, and heroism. That's why they hate it. Are you talking about Eternals? Because I don't think any of that stuff is in this, in the movie. I don't think anybody is looking at this as if it's like a good example of heroism. But yes, the woke ideology does hate all this stuff. It's hard for me to say hate. It's more that, so with male friendship, they don't hate male friendship. They just don't understand friendship. I went into this a couple days ago on Bounding Babel about Superman, like John Kent. friends can, like, you can have friends that you, especially like male friendship, there's this bond you can have with people. You have your brothers in arms. Like, there's a sense that I know that the guys in my audience know what I'm talking about. This male sort of like we're in this together. It's kind of like, it's the energy that runs through a sport, like your sports team when you're about to take the field, right? They don't see that as anything but like they're so emotionally stunted that any sort of affection to them is implies romance. Like, these are the same types of people who in school, if you were like, oh, you forgot your pencil, here, let me give you this pencil for a test, don't even worry about giving it back to me. That's all. Like, those are the types of people where that's all it takes for them to develop a long running crush on you and want to be your boyfriend or girlfriend. Like, that's how emotionally stunted they are, because they don't have good friendships because they can't recognize friendships. And then when it comes to traditional feminine roles, they do hate that. That's true. But that's because it's rebelling, because the craziest thing to me is going like, oh, you're forcing feminine roles on us. And I'm like, who is? Nobody out. Like, a lot of the women I know who are operating in traditional roles chose to, they wanted to be a mom. They wanted to stay at home after they quit their jobs. They want to cook dinner for their boyfriend or their husband when they get home from work. It's personal choice, but they can't see that as like a personal choice. It has to be because it's like sort of existed in the past. Like, obviously, like traditional gender roles come from places, and they don't have the cleanest history, obviously, because there was like lots of sexism and stuff back in like way back in the day. But nowadays they don't get that personal choice. Woke is not about personal choice. It's about thinking exactly what they think, seeing the world exactly as how they see it, and just echo chambering their worldview. The best way I can put it is that it's like a woke railgun where the bullet is whatever dumb thing they want to do now. Let's cancel Dave Chappelle. Let's make sure that this video game doesn't get published. We demand no more, what was it months ago? Like, Lucasfilm employees didn't want Luke Skywalker, right? Because he's a white male. That bullet, that talking point, gets loaded into the woke canon, and every person who they've successfully brainwashed into their way of thinking, their cultish way of thinking, is another magnet that sort of gives that talking point more energy, so that by the time it gets to the 4,000, that's a hard number to say with the th at the end. Once they get to that super top level magnet, that thing is firing. That thing now has power because you've got all of these people behind it pushing it and screaming it and yelling it, and like, it's destructive. It is not constructive, it is destructive. Oh no, I skipped again. The nonsensical promo shoots for the Eternals look like a Creed album cover. Oh, dude, at best, it's the worst alt rock like covers of the early 2000s. Like, we just need like a graffiti style poster with like a police, like a Nazi Gestapo looking police officer or something. I remember all those old sort of like really like heavy music covers. Trying to go realistic with beach weather in a God movie. Again, I've said this before, like almost every time I'm on the stream, but continuity means nothing to these people. And that doesn't just extend to like, will your character appear in the next film, but it goes with the logic of the film as well, because you have these gods who can create all this different stuff, but then why are we having a murky beach? It's weird. I'm there with you, Zach. It doesn't really make sense. Eternals should have looked like Thor Ragnarok or Guardians of the Galaxy, and they went with Ant-Man's muted grayish color palette. Bingo. It definitely should have gone way more into the Thor Ragnarok direction. Thor Ragnarok is one of I'm pretty sure it's like the only film that really leaned into its Kirby influences. So there are a lot of his like zigzaggy circuit panels and the Kirby crackle shots in Ragnarok. So I would have loved to have seen them just go way more with that. You know what I mean? Volume dealer. What I mean is these Eternals have a black one, a Mexican one, an Eastern Indian, just like Earth. That wouldn't occur. They would have broken off into their own races, not be exactly like the one on Earth. That's a really good point. I didn't even think of that because they're not human. They wouldn't be black or they would probably, I don't know. That's a really good point. I don't know how they would look different because it's all about how you geographically evolve and stuff. But that's a really good point. Again, no consistent logic in these movies or anything. Yeah, exactly, dude. Also, what's up, Ryan? Good to see you. It's a bromance. Bromances exist. And just like Nerdigans, woke believe broship is toxic because you can't have friends. You can't associate with males. I don't know what it is, but you're right, Nerdigans. It absolutely is something they find toxic. Yep, they act like platonic friendships aren't a thing at all. It's because they haven't experienced them. Like I tend to look a little more forgivingly towards SJWs. Some of them, not the like people like Ibram Kendi or what's her name, Robin DiAngelo, or any of those sorts of people, or any of the regular people who attack us from Marvel and stuff. I don't like them. That's all ideology. Like I'm fine. Like you have an agenda. I don't trust you. I don't give you any benefit of the doubt because I know that you just care about pushing this ideology. It's all about everybody agreeing to the ideology to you. But I do believe that a lot of the sort of people on the ground, the Twitter followers, the normal-ish people, or not normal because they are subscribed to woke. I guess whatever. You know what I mean? Your average Joe who is woke. They genuinely, I think they genuinely want to do good. They think they're helping. They do think they're helping, but it's easy to manipulate them because unfortunately, I don't think a lot of these SJWs came from healthy home backgrounds or social backgrounds or anything like that. So you have just a bunch of kids who were bullied, who were probably bullied and outcasts or whatever. And now they got a taste of that power and they are addicted. And that's all they care about now. They go, oh, I have the power. Now I'm going to take it out on you guys. I'm going to show you what it's like to be on the other side. Even if they don't know it, it's all just a very narcissistic emotional game that is just hurting all of us. Like it just hurts their causes. It hurts our causes. It hurts everything. What If wasn't perfect, but Infinity Ultron was so exciting in the end. Yeah, we didn't really get to talk about What If the other day, the finale, because John hasn't seen it, and I know most people probably haven't. But I'll just touch on Infinity Ultron really quick. Season finale of What If, or the last 2 episodes, Ultron gets all the Infinity Stones, sees where the Watcher is, like in his little watching dimension, breaks through, now has access to the multiverse. I do like that concept. I thought the Infinity Ultron was really cool, just like the superpower. It's almost very anime. Just the insanely overpowered enemy that you had no idea could get to that power level and is just wiping the floor and teleporting and all that. That was cool. I will admit that. But it's the lack of consistent logic. How do the Infinity Stones work there when they didn't work in the TVA at Loki? Do these stones actually work when they go to different dimensions, or do they not? Like it just throws more confusion into the mess that, again, I can watch it and be like, oh, that's really cool. Like, yeah, go Ultron. But then the second it ends and the second I have to think about it, that's when everything starts to crumble. Yeah, Korg for leader of the revolution. Let's go, Korg. Come on, bring it on. Korg versus the Eternals. Korg wins. Infinity Ultron was too easily bounced around by Captain Carter and Black Widow. The only reason I sort of give that a little leeway is because of Doctor Strange's little spell that made everybody sort of powerful and armored up. I kind of just suspended my disbelief for that, especially because it was only that one sort of like dong, like double hit KO thing, which I like that move. They do it in the comics pretty often when there's like 2 Caps running around. Let's see. Nerdigans, I'm still stumped by how these sheep can't read cursive font from Ruby Rose's tweet. I will admit, that font is stupid. Like I had trouble reading it. I mean, I had to like zoom in and be like, what does this word mean? It's that combined with the fact that she's using a lot of like sort of industry speak and Australian slang that I think makes it a little bit confusing for everybody to read. Eternals may not interfere with humans in any way, but we can still ding with them, right? Okay, but don't fall in love, or you may be tempted to interfere if things go badly. Like that's the thing. Like I don't know if they interacted with. Oh, obviously they do because there's the human husband. Yeah. So again, no consistent logic here, and there rarely ever is in this phase of the MCU. This phase of the MCU is all about getting that I saw it and I clapped moment that sets up the next movie. That's all this is. All Marvel cares about now is that very end moment where you get the hero into like finally in his pose. I mean, like the example I was doing is Shang-Chi, right? Finale of the movie, he's finally Shang-Chi. Yeah, that's all they care about because now Shang-Chi is an established thing that they can market and sell. Black Widow, same thing. We introduce all these characters. We introduce Red Guardian and the other Black Widow, but then it all comes down to that moment on the Russian Red Room helicarrier where Scarlett Johansson is bashing her nose and destroying the guy's plan. It's just bad writing. This is bad writing all around. And yes, exactly. The broship in Gurren Lagann was amazing. You just need to let them watch that. Tell them to watch an anime made before, what year is it? 2021? Tell them to watch an anime before 2016 because those themes are definitely there. They're everywhere. Let's see. Iron Sword. That's why I don't go along with feminism right now. It went from being about equality, the way they preached about it. It went from being about equality, the way they preached about, into dominate, as they originally preached about it, into dominance in every way. It's so off-putting and annoying, in my opinion. Right, exactly. Because here's the thing: you trap more flies with honey, right? So again, I'm devil's advocating here. If they really wanted equality and all this sort of stuff, why are they attacking the people who they say are in their way? You know, it's always men bad, men are keeping us down, men are destroying us. And so then anytime a man goes, all right, what about me? What can I do? Or hey, I didn't do anything. It's immediate, just like, yes, you did this thing. And it's not conductive. It's not conductive to anybody to just look over at the other side and fight them. Like, it doesn't help you. It doesn't help them. Nobody's going to get swayed. You just kind of got to let them go do their thing, you know? Like we get a lot of woke people in our mentions a lot on Bounding from some of our articles. And at most, we just retweet them and just let everybody see a different side of the argument. John and I don't go out of our way to fight them. We don't harangue them. We don't blast them. We just kind of go, because we know better than to try and waste an hour of our time debating something with somebody who, A, probably won't agree with us on anything, and B, will likely just take everything out of context and twist it. Like, it's pretty bad. Did Eternals create mutants with humans? No, I don't think so. I really wish Dawn was here because I don't know where how mutants are created right now in current 616. Yeah. That's right. I blanked there for a second because I was looking it up. Apparently, what it was when they came to Earth back in the day, when the Celestials made the Deviants and the Eternals, that experimentation on their bodies led to the eventual creation of mutants, or like birth of mutants. So I guess they didn't create them, but they're around because of them. Again, it's a thing that happens when you go on for 70 years of one continuous story and you keep trying to revisit points that have already happened. Like, the 616 is just a mess, especially because they can never commit to rebooting. Like, that's what pissed me off the most about Secret Wars and made me just absolutely like done with any of Marvel's promotion, right? And I mean, like, I was already on the War World specials in Secret Wars were actually a lot of fun. They let players they let creators play around with the characters, sort of do whatever they want, since they were all essentially getting erased, right? They're all getting doomed at the end of Secret Wars, and we're getting a reboot. But they didn't commit, and so they partially rebooted, but didn't reboot all the way. So lots of things were the same, but certain things were. Genuinely, the biggest thing they did was bring Miles into the main universe, which was just a waste. It's just an absolute waste of that storyline, of those characters, of just the entire event. And because they couldn't commit, it's like, okay, if you'd have just gone, all right, we're 616ing, we're doing it new. You did a straight up Crisis on Infinite Earths. That would have been their New 52 moment. They could have had huge sales. They could have tried again. They could have tried to bring in more authors, but they didn't. They stuck with the crap as it is, and it's just too much at this point. I don't know how you get in new readers. I don't know. I'm sure you guys have heard millions of people talk about these sort of points forever. Mutants are all plant clones now? I swear. Oh, I mean, no. Some of them maybe with the weird Krakoa egg birth machine might have plant residue. Yeah, I'm not sure. Latent X gene. Yeah, that, like, I know that's how mutants like are born, but I just didn't know if the Eternals gave them the X gene. She could have said, it's what if, don't think too much, and that'd be fine. Oh, who are you talking about? The what if chick. She said Ultron can use them anywhere because these stones are from his universe, so he can use them anywhere. Then that it's universe soup by the end. That's a really dumb idea. So I think what Zax is saying here is that the showrunner for What If said Thanos can use the stones anywhere, or Ultron can use those stones anywhere because they're from his universe. And then it's like all the universes are his at the end because it's the universe soup. That's dumb. That's really, really dumb. That doesn't make any sense. It's not about is the person using it from that universe. It's, are you in the universe they originated from? That's the whole thing with the stones, at least in the comics. Keep changing the 616's history. It's so confusing. Dude, at this point. So Marvel's a little different than DC in that DC will, they'll keep their old iterations of characters, like the Batman who appeared in the 40s. He's still Batman. He's just in a different Earth or whatever, right? They keep those continuities. With Marvel, they have what everybody knows as the sliding time scale, where they kind of have this general time frame, like things have happened for the last 10 years in the 616, and they kind of just slide all those events to sort of keep up with like contemporary times, right? We're eventually going to get to the point where like Captain America was frozen going into the Vietnam War, into Desert Storm 1. We're going to get to the point where Peter Parker started out as a Instagram influencer or photographer. It's going to be weird. And that's the hard thing with the 616. That's why the best stories nowadays are the ones that are disconnected from main continuities, because it's all about that creative freedom that is so lacking nowadays, because you have to abide by such a long continuity and you have to abide by all these rules that were previously established, and you've got to keep all of these changes and retcons and reboots and everything. Like, I have been reading comics since I was 5, 6, 7, and I've read Marvel and DC through and through, and I've studied the wikis, and even I can't remember every single reboot that comes through. And so you're playing in such a small sandbox like that. So when you get miniseries, or you get what ifs or Elseworlds or whatever label you want to put on it these days, it's freeing. You get a bigger playground. I wish I had a better way to end that analogy. That's literally what I was talking about. I'd have to see who you're talking about. I wouldn't doubt it. The first episode was bad, and the second was complete trash. It got better after episodes 3 to 9. Talking about What If, yeah. I don't know. I really only liked the one where Hank Pym kills all the Avengers, because they actually kind of really did something different. Everything else was just sort of meh. The Killmonger one could have been cool, but they didn't have enough time to explore that story properly, because I think it would have been great but it got rushed at the end, and there's a lot of plot holes and that sort of stuff. Sean the Movie Man. Harry Styles is what I consider a traditional metrosexual, and he fits with the new Marvel brand of beta male heroes and not the alpha males of old. Tony Stark, Thor, Hulk, etc. Yeah, I would say the metrosexual label is a perfect fit for that. And yeah, I have no idea how they're going to portray him, because I'm trying to even think of the male heroes that sort of are still alive and exist in the MCU right now. And what, you got Spider-Man, you got Strange, you've got, I guess, Hulk's around, Ant-Man. So I mean, yes, I think we don't have our alpha heroes. We don't really have an alpha leader, honestly, like a male or female. Do not bring Captain Marvel in here from space and try to tell me that she's the new alpha leader of the MCU. Do not try to tell me that, because that just doesn't work. Mitch Ryan. Yeah, Mitch, I want Marvel to reset, but I'm scared they will ruin everything. That's the thing. That's the monkey's paw of it all, right? You go, I want them to reset everything. Just, reboot it, make it a little cleaner. Let's try for the ultimate universe again, like 2.0. And they do it. But they don't, like, then you have to think about, like, what kind of books are they publishing nowadays? What agendas are they pushing these days? How are they, what are they doing over there? Because I'm kind of with you, Mitch. Like, you get them to reset. We probably get 2 or 3 really good, like, reboot books. Because that's typically what always happens. There's always like 1 or 2 at the very beginning, of course. The first 3 or 4 issues, they drag you in with the great creative team, and then they say later. But yeah, I wouldn't trust anything else past that. It would be like a good Iron Man, Captain America, and maybe Thor reboot, and probably Spider-Man, because he's their other cash cow. But after that, you're going to get very heavy MCU synergy, which is the worst. I really need comic books to stop having synergy with the movies. I know what you think you're trying to do, but it doesn't help anybody. Because here's the problem with doing movie synergy is you have, for the comic book readers, for the fans, they are confused, because half the time you do these changes to make it like the movies, it's very ham-fisted and very forced, because the movies do take a lot of liberties from the comic books. That's just kind of how it is. Oh my gosh, where was I going with this? Comic books take a lot of liberties, so it's not. Damn. Okay, I'll have to come back to that. I'm sure somebody in the chat will be able to tell me where my train of thought went on that one. But essentially, yes, I am there with you, Mitch. A reset would be the doublest edged of swords. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They also broke their own MCU canon that they established in Loki then. That's what I'm saying. What if Loki, Endgame, all of that stuff is just off the wall? Like, it doesn't follow anymore. I've said this before. The MCU is now taking the worst examples from comic books. They're throwing things in. Oh, I remember my train of thought now. Hold on, I'll get back to it. They're throwing things in just to show them. They are making like the TV shows are like the tie-in series you get for events that don't really add anything. It might show how one character got from issue 1 to issue 2, but that's it. Like Fear State Spider-Man, or Fear Itself Spider-Man, or Civil War Captain America. Like, those issues don't really add that much to the story, but it's there for the money. But you get those 1 or 2 moments that add to the continuity, that you're there, that justify why they're being made. And when you do that, and then you have so many different creators doing so many different projects with so many different rules, all playing with the same sort of object, like the Infinity Stones in the multiverse, that unless you have one person there like spearheading it, and you're meeting every day, and you're going, what are you writing? How does it fit into this, what we've established? It's going to get messy. You're going to have people cross lines. You're going to have somebody go, ooh, I didn't know that Schaefer was doing that on her show. I guess, oops, we'll explain it away later. And it's just too much, too messy. It's like what Mitch and I were talking about. It's just getting too much baggage, which relates to the point I dropped. Synergy needs to go, because, yeah, comic readers get, like, we get upset because it's like, what are you doing? Why are you forcing this? This completely changes the character. And for the moviegoer who you're trying to bring in with that change by giving Ant-Man the movie suit, or giving like bringing Bucky back, or whatever you want to do for whatever specific story, it's not going to work on the people you're trying to entice, because they pick up that book going, ooh, I recognize Ant-Man. That's the Ant-Man from the movie. He's wearing the suit. They open the book. Who the hell is Grizzly? Who the hell is who are any of these guys? Like I don't know who's Eric O'Grady. Like, what's going on? This is so weird. So they get confused and they don't become customers. The only way you can really get those customers in is if you give them a fresh universe to get into. That's why the Ultimate Universe was such a win for Marvel around the turn of the century. Is that right? Millennium. Around the turn of the millennium, because you had Ultimate Universe, and then you had the X-Men books, the X-Men movies, the Blade movies, the Spider-Man movies, and to an extent, I guess, the Fantastic Four movies, right? But you had people go and watch these movies, and they go, okay, where do I start? What do I do? And somebody could just go, Ultimate Spider-Man #1. Go. Perfect. Done. It's just like manga, right? I know Nerdigans will back me up on this. If somebody comes to me and they're like, I want to read One Piece, where do I start? I can just go, One Piece #1. Here you go. Just like that. But if somebody comes to me and they go, hey, I really enjoyed, pick any MCU movie. Let's say I really enjoyed Far From Home. I was trying to think of like No Way Home, Far From Home, Spider-Man Far From Home. I couldn't just say, oh, pick up Ultimate Spider-Man #1. You'll get everything they're talking about. I would have to go, well, if you really want to get into his relationship with Mary Jane, you've got to check out these issues of this person's run. And then if you want to learn about Sandman and Hydro Man, you've got to check out issue 118 and 142, and then volume 2, 190. And like, what am I doing? I'm assigning homework. Like, it's so hard. That's kind of what I was getting at. And yes, they did break their established canon. Volume Dealer, the Doctor Strange episode was full Marvel. That was probably the second best one for me, and probably objectively the best one, because they kind of got to play and kind of got to do whatever and kind of just pushed everything to the limits. Was Captain Marvel quippy in the comics? I assume you're talking about Carol, and she was not. That was a sort of recent invention when she got the mantle of Captain, like when they started pushing her. Back in the day, Carol was less of a hero and more of just a human being. She, dealt with a lot of, like imposter syndrome. She felt like she's a hero, but never really on the levels of the Avengers, even though she's always being recruited to work with them. And then there was the whole time baby with her son from the future hypnotized thing, which I can go into if nobody knows, but it's a pretty wackadoo Avengers story. And so, and she also was an alcoholic. Like, she was dealing with being an alcoholic and being a veteran too. And so the Miss Marvel like series that spawned around the time of Civil War, so in like 05, 06, she was much more of a Jessica Jonesy type almost, where she's trying her best and not as bad and as low as Jessica, but she's trying her best and you can't succeed, right? And just failing and trying to learn how to live with that failure and try to just learn how to be okay with herself as a hero and know that you don't have to be the Captain America to do good. So she was a lot different. This quippiness is a current Marvel invention, and it's one of the things I hate the most, because not everybody quipping was pretty much the Spider-Man's thing, and that was the reason. Like, go read any old comic. Read any comic now. One of the jokes they always make is, Spider-Man, shut your mouth. You talk too much. And he always talks about, I talk to distract the villains. And because I'm nervous as shit. I'm going up against the Juggernaut. Like, who isn't going to be a little, like, trembling in their pants because of that? And I think that they took that lesson from the movies, which, were obviously a little popular. They took inspiration from the movies, which were super popular, which started bringing that quippiness to the forefront of superhero culture. And then you also got that reinforced in X-Men. the X-Men movies, which weren't quips, but they were moments of like not levity, but like snarky back and forth. Like I think of the moment when the X-Men in the first movie are going to the Statue of Liberty to stop Magneto, and they walk through and they're like, oh, it's a metal detector. How are we gonna get through it? And Wolverine just goes, and then he goes like that, and then he does like the middle finger claw to Cyclops. Like that's not a quip, but it is funny. But I think they took the wrong lessons. Quips are and then especially once Guardians came out and you got super quippy Peter Quill, and then Iron Man, the way they wrote him in the movies, super quippy. Tony is super quippy, right? They just kind of, and so you take that blueprint of Tony being quippy and you see the blueprint of Quill being quippy, and go look at the Phase 1 movies. Every character kind of has their own sort of own personality. They don't not all of them joke or like quip, but they might have a joke or a smile moment or whatever. But then you can see in like Phase 2, they start getting into that corporate mold, which is quippy main character, big introduction of character from comics that makes everybody clap, and then big giant space CGI battle at the end. And so now everybody's quippy, and I can't be the only one who thinks that's awful. That's just me. Play their cards right, and the new leader of the MCU will be Reed Richards, but they'll probably make him a transgender Filipino raised in Mexico dating traditional-looking white guy Sean Storm. That's actually funny as hell. I would love to see them try that, because it's not out of the possibility of how they'll try to do it. I've said this before. This is not a good time to try and do a Fantastic Four movie. Or let me rephrase this. In pop culture in the last couple years, probably since the 90s, the attitude that sort of prevailed was the detached sort of sarcastic cynicism. Like, okay, yeah, whatever. Like, we've all been disillusioned by politics, by everything that happened in the 70s, 80s, 90s. We know our politicians lie to us. We know everything is kind of going to shit. So everybody's kind of just detached and like, yeah, whatever. It's cool to not care. That very punk grunge aesthetic. That kind of carried through our entertainment for a while. And you have a lot of characters and stories about like, my family doesn't understand me. They don't get me. Like, I got to run away and carve my own path. I got to do that. Right. Like this, lots of rebellion against against the parental unit, which again stems from that rebellious nature of the 90s where all these people grew up. But because of that, it's so hard for these people to write good family stories about a family who is together, who is loving, who isn't stupid or mean just for the sake of drama. It's near impossible to find good stories like that anymore. And so initially I was going to say, this is the worst time to make that kind of movie. But I stopped myself because the best example of this is it's not on air right now. It's on a season break, but Superman and Lois. Just a fantastic display. Superman, Lois, John and Jonathan, Jonathan and, oh my gosh, whatever his brother's name is. I'm totally blanking for some reason. This is bad. Jordan. Those four like love each other. They get into conflict, but it's not like drama conflict where it's like, oh, on the next episode, will they get a divorce? It's more just like they are angry at each other. It's a struggle, and you can sympathize. If you have a healthy family life, or even like a healthy group of friends that you can consider a family, you can look to that and be like, that is a good family. They care. They listen to each other. They don't just fight. They don't just yell at each other. They don't just, cause drama for no reason, like most CW shows. So again, I'm kind of with you, Josh. I don't know how it could go. I just kind of don't trust anybody to make a good family story right now. It's just kind of where we are in cultural society. Iron Sword, go have a nice exercise. I know you probably left 10 minutes ago, but yeah, have a great exercise, buddy. Remember in Avengers 2 how the Mind Stone appeared to be like a brain and Iron Man made the Ultron AI based on it? I thought that was an interesting plot point that went nowhere. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff from that movie that could have been interesting, could have been great. But again, Whedon lost his mind, or he didn't lose his mind. He's just not that great of a director, and we got what we got. But I'm there with you. It could have been. I was thinking like, are they going to make copies of it? Are they going to like make a stone tracker from that? Like it looks like a brain. Are they going to? So much cool stuff could have happened with that. I was definitely there. Was Carol a super B as Miss Marvel? Not that I remember. I started reading X-Men when she was bonded with Rogue. She could be. So there's a difference between just being one and having your moments, where it's like current Carol is the kind of woman who you come up to her and you just ask her a question and she'll give you that snark back. Like, yeah, I'm the captain. I know what I'm talking about. Like, yeah, get behind me, kid. I'll show you what we're doing. In the past, she had those moments where she was like, oh, like Iron Man, shut up, like go away. But it was more of those moments. It was more moment like in the past, those were moments you could see coming from somebody who was struggling with something. They're getting frustrated. They don't really know what they're doing. Their emotions get the best of them, and they have a lash out moment, as opposed to the high and mighty, I'm the best superhero, I'm walking around like this forever, that she's written as now. So short answer, no, not a super B, but had her moments. You dropped me the What If Writers tweets for another time. She's also a big Kevin Smith fan. Oh man, I've got to check those out. I had no idea. I don't even know What If Writer's name. So I'm definitely going to check those out. Maybe if you want to send him on Twitter too, to make sure I see him after the show. Yep. Ultimate Universe started strong and ran off a cliff. That's what Porg and I were talking about that last night, where Ultimate Universe started fantastic, started great, very clean, simple stories, and they all linked together, and it was just this easy narrative. And then you started getting, again, you started going full comic book. You started having big epic crossovers with world-changing things, and so you got Ultimatum, and then you've got like what was it, like Ultimate Power and Ultimate Mystery and Ultimate Secret, and that's when it starts going off the rails. And then I thought there was some interesting stuff after Ultimatum. Specifically, I liked the Ultimates stuff with Punisher, and then obviously like the death of Spider-Man was a pretty good storyline. But then after that, it's just like they do the normal Marvel thing. They reboot volumes, they introduce stories, and then take them back. They tell you this character is going to be important, and then retcon it immediately. It gets messy. If you have to continually juggle your narrative to make things work so that you can keep telling a story, that story is not going to work. The best stories have, they go from point A to point B, and they know that they're going there. Stories that go from point A to point B, and then, kind of crap on their own logic so that they don't have to be at point B yet, so they keep exploring all this in-between middle area, that gets messy. It's like when somebody tells a lie, and it builds, and eventually they have so many lies going that they can't keep track of them. And somebody goes, wait a second, you said you were getting ice cream last night, but you told, Jimmy that you were asleep at home. Like, that's what happens. Obviously, I'm going to say less malicious, because I don't think when they do these plot switch arounds, they're trying to be mean or nasty or anything. I just think they're misguided. They are too attached to the old ways of it has to just continue going forever. Like, that's the problem. She wrote for Arrow. She probably wrote for Arrow season 5. That was the worst one. Confession time. For the longest time, and maybe still today, I preferred Ultimate Spider-Man to 616. That is definitely not a controversial opinion. I think the Ultimate Spider-Man, he was fantastic. 616 has his... There's different things to them, right? Like, Ultimate Spider-Man is that sort of more just pure, true hero's journey, because it's that straight story. Whereas 616 is caught up in all of the mess of things like the Clone Saga or Spider-Verse and things like that. So I don't even blame you for that, unless you're talking about the Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon, because that cartoon sucks. And that's the cartoon that had everybody's favorite I don't know what word to say that won't get dinged on YouTube, but that Spider-Man is voiced by Drake Bell. And in one of the most egregious moments, if you guys want to know something that always bugs me, so Spectacular Spider-Man, that was the cartoon on before Ultimate, before Disney sort of got their mitts into everything. And Ultimate Spider-Man was a great cartoon. It existed in its own sort of thing. Then you also had Wolverine and the X-Men, which was, again, its own sort of thing. And then you had Avengers, Earth's Mightiest Heroes, which was its own sort of thing. But they all sort of took place in the same universe. It wasn't as crossover heavy as the comics, but it was sort of established like, yes, the X-Men exist in this universe. Spider-Man exists in this universe. They're over here doing that stuff. And then there is an episode of Avengers, Earth's Mightiest Heroes, season 2, near the very end, called The New Avengers, where the Avengers disappear. And so the responsibility of being Avengers falls on Luke Cage, Iron Fist, Ben Grimm, The Thing, Wolverine, and Spider-Man. Kind of a classic mashup of the New Avengers and the classic Fantastic Four, right? Or the new Fantastic Four, right? In that episode, they decided to give it. By the time that episode was going into production and stuff, Spectacular Spider-Man had already been canceled. They were already moving to make Ultimate Spider-Man. Josh Keaton, one of the best voice actors probably of all time, he did Spider-Man and Spectacular Spider-Man, and also Hal Jordan in the amazing Green Lantern animated series. But they decided, all right, we're gonna give Spider-Man fans a nod, bring this all together. Keaton, why don't you come in and voice Spider-Man for this episode? Bring everything full circle. And Keaton was like, yeah, fantastic, let's do it. Even tweeted out like, hey, I'm in the studio, I'm recording my lines, like this is gonna be really fun. Only for the episode to air, and Disney replaced him with Drake Bell. Completely recorded Keaton's lines, completely finished that production, but they wanted that synergy, so they got Drake Bell in there. And it makes me furious because I hate that Drake Bell. I hate that version of Spider-Man. It is boring. It's not boring, it's just dumb. And so that always kind of just sits in the back of my mind, like, ooh, I hate you, Marvel. Like, ooh. But then another fun fact off of that, actually, because of that whole fiasco, there was an episode of Young Justice that feature, or like 1 or 2 episodes of Young Justice that feature the super obscure villain, Black Spider, who is essentially just like a Spider-Man pastiche. And DC got Josh Keaton to come in and voice him. So I thought that was really cool. Oh no, I really need that comment. Where was it, Zax? They should have made Carol Baskins the new Captain Marvel. We'd all watch that. Oh, we're gonna get a Captain Marvel murderer this time, allegedly. Miss Marvel was much hotter in that blue onesie. Oh yeah, blue, black, whatever color it was at the time. Far superior costume to what she has now. I just love it. I also love like the yellow sash. Very Toku, very Kamen Rider. That's exactly it, Chris. When Kelly Sue DeConnick got a hold of Captain Marvel is when she tanked as a character. And that is exactly it. It's because at that time, I remember when that happened, it's because they needed their Trinity, right? Like obviously Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman were Dawn of Justicing it and blowing up and the talk of the town. And you look at Marvel and you go, who do we have as our Trinity? Thor, Captain America, and like, the third spot can probably be interchanged because there is no real big Trinity. I think nowadays it's Iron Man, but back when this was all sort of kicking off, maybe Hulk, Spider-Man, Wolverine, depending on who you want to throw into that slot. But Marvel obviously went, we need our Wonder Woman. Who can we use as our Wonder Woman? And so they went for Captain Marvel, but then they also went for the one writer who's going to make her insufferable. They went in making sure she was untouchable and the bestest ever. And when you do that, you don't get a good character. You just never do. We can all thank DeConnick for what happened to Carol. Sean the Movie Man. I love the Netflix Marvel Jessica Jones show. Never read the Jessica Jones comics, but that actress Kristen Ritter was excellent being snarky. Larson is just flat and a terrible actress in that role. I absolutely agree with you. Comics they're good. They're Bendis comics, early Bendis, so they're not insufferable. But they tell just sort of the same sort of like neo-noir, not neo-noir, but like contemporary noir, contemporary noir detective stories. But yeah, that show was incredible. I love Kristen Ritter. She's one of my celebrity crushes. She plays a very excellent snarky type character. And just very believable as somebody who's sort of like, for lack of a better term, like a drag on society. Like she just played that role really well. And I thought it was great. And then, yeah, Larson in her role as Captain Marvel is super stiff. I feel like she's always trying to do the like when you see in comic books or in like anime, like Goku, like when Goku powers up to Ultra Instinct and he sort of gets that blank, like, I am so powerful, I can't even bother to give you an emotion about this fight sort of feeling. You know, you guys know what I'm talking about, where like the hero and the villain is just like, all right, like, let's go, like, we're doing this, and there's no anything because they're just locked in and powerful. That's how she is all the time. She's always appearing and doing the sort of like, I'm Captain Marvel, I'm powerful, let's do this. Yes, I can take on Thanos. Okay, like it's almost like they don't want her to emote, which is a shame because like I have seen her emote before. I think I've dropped this before, way before she came out and started talking trash on everything. I don't know if any of you guys have seen the show Community. Fantastic show. There's an episode where the character Abed brings a girl to a dance that's being held at the community college and doesn't know what to do because it's like his sort of first date, and he keeps going to the coat check girl to sort of like, hey, give me advice. What should I do next? What should we do? And the coat check girl is Brie Larson. And it's this really cute sort of interaction where eventually they realize like, oh, I would rather be talking to you than the girl I'm with. And they start dating for a little while. And Larson, as that character, I had like a super huge crush on her. I was like, that's the kind of girlfriend I would want, like somebody I'd want to date. And yeah, so I don't know what they're doing with it. It's bad direction all around. They're trying too hard to sell the fact that she is powerful. Again, the people in life who are skilled, the people who can play guitar, the people who can run, like who are athletic, the people who can cook really well. Very rarely do these people go around bragging or showing off at every possible second how good they are at what they do. But because they know that that's obnoxious. Nobody wants to be around that person. But they know that at a moment's notice, if I needed to, we're busting out that guitar. We're playing them jams. Oh, we need to make up some food. Let me get to that kitchen. Let me whip it up really fast. Like, oh, man, you need another player for your pickup football game? Well, buddy, you got the right person. But yeah, so I wish they were writing her like that, but they're trying way too hard. They're trying way too hard to sell visually that she's powerful, as if the glowing eyes and the rippling energy wasn't enough. Oh man, I saw another good Tiger King one. Where was that? Sean the Movie Man. Carol Baskins is Captain Marvel and Tiger King is Black Panther. I would love Tiger King to get obsessed with Black Panther. Can you imagine? Like, oh my goodness. Just all of a sudden he starts showing up on all his appearances with like Black Panther merch, doing the Wakanda Forever salute, even though that thing is out of date by like 5 years. Yeah, Marvel did do Reed Richards being gay in one of the universes, and his partner was an alternate Johnny Storm. Again, to me, I know John feels differently, and I think Don and everybody else does as well. But when it's moments like these, like, I'm totally fine if your alternate universe version of Reed is gay and is dating Johnny, whatever. It's an alternate universe for that reason. The problem comes in when if Marvel were to bring in that Reed and say, this is Reed Richards now. Like, Reed Richards is gay now. Like, he is gay. Reed Richards is gay. This is your Reed Richards now. That's where I get a problem, because I'm like, no. Reed exists in this universe, and he is like this. It's just, I would have the same feelings if they put, like, what's his name? Like Shatterstar and Richter into another universe and made them straight. That's not who they are. That's not their characters. You're just trying to play with stuff. Can't wait for Miss Marvel, Kamala Khan to bomb on D+. Yeah, dude, I haven't seen anything about that show since those leaked set photos of like the Halloween costume. And I don't know, man. From what we've seen of the shows, I don't think it'll bomb. It'll probably get decent-ish ratings, but I don't know if anybody's going to enjoy it. You're probably also going to get Captain Marvel stans crapping their pants because of the fact that they've renamed Captain Marvel 2 to the Marvels, because they're introducing Miss Marvel too, like, or not introducing her, but like bringing her into the movie. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I don't know what's going to happen. I will say, I do wish all the best of luck to the actress. She's a cute little kid. Imagine it's got to be like really incredible for a child to get a role in the Marvel universe, and I hope she has a great career in the future. But goodness, you picked the wrong time to join the MCU. Let's put it that way. Yeah, it was a small section. I remember that happening. It was like before slots run. They were hopping. They were jumping around. Yeah, vintage comic love. Kamala Khan is not my Miss Marvel. My Miss Marvel will always be Carol, and my Captain Marvel will always be the Vels. It's either Genus, Phyla, or Mar. That's it. Not even Novar. Get Novar out of here. When he says he's Marvel, Captain Marvel, get out of here. Yeah, Luigi, Superman changes like if Captain America were to worship Brazil instead of the U.S. It makes no sense to the character. Yeah, hopefully we'll get to that in a second. We haven't touched upon Superman yet, but I think we should. I like Kamala Khan's design and different powers. I just hate her being a radical. So, yeah, Mitch, I've said on streams a couple times before, the first run of Kamala Khan, like the first arc where she learns her powers and becomes Miss Marvel, fun. Very, very much in the vein of old school teenager becomes superhero stories, right? Like your Spider-Mans, your Power Rangers, your whatever. I like her design. I actually do. I will admit that. I'm a big sucker for capes, or not capes, but like scarves. Again, Common Rider guy over here. Love them. Like Proto Man is my favorite Mega Man character because of that scarf. But yes, it was once they started changing her into being a radical and making her stories about fighting these really poor analogs for like social issues that it just became awful. Like there's a story arc in Miss Marvel where she fights against Roxxon because Roxxon is coming in to build new houses, and it's about, and the whole storyline is about neighborhood like zoning and gentrification and stuff, which is like, sure, go have a discussion about that in a lecture hall, but I'm not coming to my comic books for a discussion on this. Like, it's so dumb. I don't want to hear that. I was saying yesterday, again, on Bounding Babel, the best if you really wanted to have people take your social message issue or whatever, like if you want to put a social message in a story in a comic book and have it be taken seriously, you have to, one, treat it with like serious respect, and two, not make it every single issue. So nowadays you have your Marvels and your DCs publishing these comics for every single issue. You've got Barbara Gordon going to join Antifa before you meet Batwoman, who is leading Antifa. And then you've got John fighting climate change. And it's just like, you hear it so much and it's all so poorly executed that you have almost no choice but to go like, who cares? Maybe if you'd have done a climate change issue in the 90s and it was the one issue of that run, that's how it's going to sell, because it's different. People are going to pay attention because it's different. The example I brought up yesterday was, for anybody who's read Hellblazer, there is an unpublished issue of Hellblazer where the entire issue is about a school shooting happens. And John is basically going through saying like, yes, I'm a magician, but even I couldn't have really done anything here. I didn't know it was happening until it was happening. Like, that's the big trauma of it, right? And that makes sense within the universe because John's powers don't involve time manipulation or any of that stuff, or they didn't at the time. I don't know what he's up to nowadays because I don't read him anymore. And it was a one issue. It wasn't, the entire book was not about look for the kids who are going to shoot up your school. And because it was so different, because it was unique, it was that, ray of light, or like it was that bright white spot in a canvas of black paint. It caught everybody's attention. People remember it. Yeah, like it sticks out in my mind, even though school shootings are on a different level of problem nowadays. You know what I mean? Yeah, if Marvel wants to make money, all they have to do is make stuff that's not woke, because they make woke garbage. None of it will succeed. It's that simple. I don't think it is, unfortunately. I do think Marvel is making money. Like they are getting returns on their movies. Their books are still selling to an extent. I know that Disney wrote off last year, or not like wrote off, but when they did their financial filings last year, they claimed a huge loss in their like theme park and entertainment department, which is the department where their comic division is like under. So I don't know how well that's doing, probably poor, but then like merchandise, all that yada, yada, yada. So they're making money on all the stuff that is kind of the most distanced from woke, if that. Like the toys, kids aren't going to care about the politics behind why there's a different colored, like a different suited Spider-Man. They're just going to go, I want that Spider-Man toy. Like, I want that Spider-Man toy. I want Spider-Man. So that's, I think at this point, there's a lot of brand recognition. There's a lot of popularity among fans and hopefuls, and even just like the regular population, that I think that they're going to keep making money. It's kind of dependent on how much money are they going to make? Because this phase is a test for them, especially with the pandemic, but especially with just the quality of the movies they're putting out. This is the big test. And here's the super disingenuous thing. Pardon me. And I just realized this as I was talking to you, Bunny. So they have this phase, and yes, it is a test, because these are all kind of, like I was saying before, movies that people ask why now, why at all, why this character, but they get to throw in. I can't believe I forgot this. They have No Way Home, Spider-Man, which everybody's getting hyped for. It's Spider-Man. It's going to sell tickets, especially if it's got all the old people. Like, I'll admit it. I'm a sucker. I'm kind of excited for it because I love Spider-Man. He's my favorite superhero. But they're going to be able to claim now, Bunny, and I know they'll do it, that this phase was completely successful. This was a great phase of the MCU because of that movie. Everything else is going to be mid to whatever, but that movie's going to hit and blow the hell up. I know it's going to do a lot of money. It has to. And they'll be able to point at that and go, this phase was great. So all they have to do is throw in that one winning blockbuster or profitable blockbuster, and they get to spin the narrative however they want. It's another one of those word games. Yeah, Twitter promoting how the Eternals has the first deaf superhero. I don't even almost like. I know it sounds harsh, but like, I don't care. I don't know. I haven't really heard anybody outside of the actress herself talking about how important this is. And it also makes me mad because there's been so much talk about Echo for years, and she's showing up in something. She's currently planning to show up in some Marvel production. I can't remember. Let me look at what it is. Echo, Marvel. That's what it is. She's showing up in Hawkeye. Duh. And so I don't know. It just bugs me because you had a genuine deaf character to celebrate. You could have had Echo if you'd have just waited for that to come out. If you'd have just waited for Hawkeye to come out, because it comes out in like 2 weeks, right? You have a genuine deaf character who you could have gone on and been like, yeah, look, this character's actually been deaf her entire career. But no, you had to go and do a disability swap, an ableism swap to make it palatable. And it's so dumb. That just shows you they don't really care about actually representing you or supporting you. They just care about getting that headline and getting them clicks and getting those ticket sales. Again, that's not a radical epiphany. This is just, it's something we all know. But I think especially the woke folks need to learn corporations are not your friends. They do not give a flying shit about you. They will say whatever it takes to get them money, and they will promote whatever it takes to get them money. And that's the end of the business, end of the line. Look at Sony, Microsoft, two of the biggest like woke pushers. You know what? I don't even know that much about Microsoft because I stopped paying attention to Xbox, but Sony, PlayStation, one of the biggest pushers of we gotta be safe and secure. We gotta make everything perfect for everybody around the world. Like we need to do so much for society. And they just got busted working with a company that straight up admitted, yes, we use Uyghur slave labor in China. So don't ever listen to them. Corporations do not care. Just forget them. Anytime you hear a corporation's name, tell them to go F themselves. Tell them to go away. Yes, Toriyama does retcon crap all the time, but I really don't have a complaint about that because it does frustrate me too. It's again super, and even I would argue the Boo saga and to an extent the Cell saga are examples of something sort of dragging on past its end date, right? Like especially Boo, you knew that he's just throwing things out there now. We're gonna fuse and we're gonna have another tournament and we're gonna have an enemy named after Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo from Cinderella. Like, I don't know. I have no criticism or anything to add to that. I guess I'm with you there. The Death of Spider-Man, which one? I liked both, but I actually prefer the one where it is implied that he drowned during the flood. That one. Goblin was great too, but retcon. The drown during the... Wait.
Oh, no. I'm trying to remember now. Because it's all the same sort of death, because they all think he dies in the flood, and then he shows back up to save him from the goblin, and that's how he dies, right? Isn't that it? He dies on the lawn? It's been a while. On the off chance that it's not that, I'm with you there, Josh. I much prefer the flooding death than the goblin beating death. Oh no, jumped again. We got a $6, I think Myanmar. I'm not sure what currency that is. From Apitz Bin Senin. I hope I said that right. Show My Hero Academia tee you're wearing now with full screen and stand. Yeah, let me put the full screen up. Ah, wrong full screen. My full screen. Yeah. Just a cool class shot of everybody from Deku's class. Where's Deku? Deku over there. And just kind of goes across. One of my favorite details is that, what's his name? I think his name's Kaminar, right? He's actually, like, his running gimmick in the comics is that he's so full of himself, he looks at the like camera all the time, and he's doing it on the shirt, so I really like that. Yeah, dude, one of my favorite shirts, and wore it specifically because we were I was gonna hang out with all of y'all tonight. So thanks for noticing, man. Oh man. Oh my gosh. Yes, how cringe was that Ezra Miller teaser for Flash? Yeah, you guys want to talk about this will probably be a good way to move into DC. I'm sure everybody is tired of hearing me talk about Marvel comics. So let's move into DC. We didn't really write an article on the Ezra Miller teaser, but let me pull it up real quick and we can take a look at it. Again, another thing I was talking about with Porg last night on stream is this teaser, Fandom Flash. I also hate this because DC hasn't officially uploaded it. It's only up on like IGN, which is super weird. Like I don't get it. So let's go back to Fastos. Say goodbye, Fastos. And we'll go here. Oh, this is a cool little window. Why don't we ever do this one? John, what the hell? I'm yelling at somebody who's not here, but this is really cool. I love this. Anyway, since the Flash is the main point of discussion, I'll bring that up full screen. But so, yeah, at Fandom this past weekend, yeah, it was this past weekend, we got our first look at the Flash trailer, Andy Muschietti's The Flash, which is another one of those things that's kind of been in development hell for years, and they've changed what they're doing with it like 90 times. Very, very confusing. But I digress. So one of the most cringe parts of Volume Dealer, and this is the thing that made me excited to talk about it with you guys, is this. This is how Ezra decided to appear and promote the movie. I know that the dude he's like, I don't know, he's a Wokey. I know he like plays with gender roles and all that stuff, but man, this is just objectively a bad look. Like his hair, those glasses, the choker, the super low cut, and then the jean. I don't know, man. It's just like, look at this nerd. I don't know. It's not even a nerd. It's just a bad look about everything. So we had Ezra looking like that. And he says, "Hey, we're making the movie. It's in production. We don't have a lot to show right now, but we can show you some of these things." So yeah, teaser starts. This part's kind of pretty cool. Two Millers or two Flashes are approaching what is assumed to be Batman's mansion, the Wayne Manor. They go inside. They're looking around. Ezra eventually flips that switch. Then we start seeing shots. I want to see this shot. We get this full body shot of his new suit, which is very New 52-y, which I'm not exactly a fan of. Also don't know how he's going to get it. Like, who's around to make him the suit? Maybe Batman. But so this is clear they're going to do the Flashpoint storyline because he shows up here, walks inside. Assumedly, his mom is alive, and he's like, "Oh my God, is that you?" Then we get, what else did we get? Oh yeah, then we get some shots of like the what is that? Batman's cowl on the ground, presumably Keaton's. We get this weird shot of one of the Flash's spray painting boots to look like Jay Garrick's, assumedly. At least that's what I think. I think they're gonna try for the Jay Garrick look on whatever this Flash is, and maybe even name him that. Oh yeah, there's a better in this awful quality. A better shot of the suit. in all of its full glory. I do like the cave. It reminds me a lot of the one he currently is in like the Rebirth, Infinite Frontier era. So I kind of hope they have the trophies and stuff though. Like I'd love to see a giant penny. Then you get some voiceover, and then you get this back shot of the cowl, and then you get the logo, and then you get this post-credit scene where one of these flashes is like whoa, and then he goes to take it off, and then it cuts to black. So that was the Flash teaser. Let's get into it. Volume Dealer, exactly what he was talking about was Ezra looking ridiculous at the very beginning. Hi, I'm Ezra Miller. Yep, DC3, he is cringy. He was headed to the Village People's YMCA. Dude, he was like going to the Village People's YMCA as all of the Village People's once. That's what I feel like he's dressed as. People joke about beta soy boys and make various comments, but this is the first time I literally saw someone wearing a submissive collar outside of a movie scene of someone's bedroom. Yeah, dude. I know that I've actually seen, like, I see girls wear it a lot, especially like alt girls and goth girls. Like they always wear, or like choker is a fashion, but I've never seen one like this fucking. Never seen one this fat and like on a man. It's just. This one looks more like a BDSM like dog collar than anything else. It's really weird to me. Yep, hideous and cringy in that Flash promo, definitely. Is there reverse Flash? We don't know. There are leaks out there that say one of those Ezra's heel turns and becomes the villain, and maybe that'll be our reverse Flash. Not entirely sure. We haven't seen anything. There's been no casting. There's like no details about this movie out, aside from the fact of what we just saw, and then Supergirl's going to be in it, the Sasha Kaye one. Suit looks lame. Yep, I'm right there with you. Also, hey, YouTube me, what's up? Good morning, afternoon. Not entirely sure what time it is over there. Suit does look lame. There's something very fake about it. I mean, it's a costume in a comic book movie, but there's something really weird about it. I don't know if I can put my finger on it until we get like a better look at it. Ezra Miller is DC's version of Brie Larson, off-putting actor in a coveted role. That's good. I didn't even think about that. I actually do like that comparison. They both act very stiff too. I don't like Ezra Miller's Barry. It's weird. It's like they're trying to make him. They tried to make him like the TV Flash, who was trying to be like Peter Parker, but they just go full Peter Parker with it. Like, it's super weird. Yeah, I'm with you, Volume Dealer. Doubt they're going to do something as cool as Reverse Flash. I feel like that's something they would have teased. Knowing DC and how much they love their promo material and stuff, definitely feel like we would have seen that, or a what do you call it? A set photo. So I would put odds probably at this point in the middle, just because maybe they might make the other Flash who turns evil into Reverse Flash. But I don't think we're getting the classic like Thawne or Solomon. Just hit noon. Awesome. Well, good afternoon, YouTube me. Down under. I know the F-bomb's going to have all of the 3 guys who continually harass us about our articles walk out. Oh my gosh, I failed the site, and you, good readers and watchers, I failed you. This may end up being better than a 90-minute movie. This may end up being better than a 90-minute movie involving Ron Jeremy in a trench coat, but I'm not entirely convinced it'll be less painful to watch. I don't know if it'll be better. I think it might actually be sort of on point right there. Got another $6 Myanmar from Apps Vincent in. Show your tea again with full screen and no super chat. Oh, I can definitely do that. It's my debut. Full screen. Let's see. There we go. That's about as full screen as I can get. How far can I go? Ta-da! Come on, Deku. I'm trying to stretch out Deku's face so he shows up. There we go. That's probably the best shot. Todoroki's there at the end. All the greats. All the Class 1A. Deku's got his little antenna thing from his suit. Love it. Love it. My modeling career should take off now. Except I was canceled for that F-bomb. Yeah. Ezra was wearing a sub-collar during that fandom appearance. Dude, when's Eric July going to do the Black Pill stream? Whenever he wants, I would love to talk to Young Ripa. Our doors are always open. I think he knows that we're a big fan of his work. We write about him all the time. So yeah, shout out to Eric July, and if anybody can get word to him or knows how to get to him, let me know. That would be fantastic. Hello, let's go Ezra. Yeah, dude, let's go Ezra. Let's go Ezra. Doesn't really fit with the let's go Brandon, but yeah, when is I got what you meant, volume dealer. When is Eric July going to do the Bounding into Comics Black Pill stream? So with that, I think we talked a lot of Marvel. We talked a lot of Eternals, which I didn't plan on. Do you guys want to get into? We got about an hour. We can either get into Ruby Rose or we can talk about Superman and his logo change. I know that I talked about the logo change, the motto change yesterday on Bounding Babel, and I know some people were there, like Nerdigans and Iron Sword. But so let me know if that's what you guys want to talk about. I don't want to go over anything we already have. I don't want to bore y'all. I would love to make this entertaining at the very least. Bring this back up. Black Adam. I actually haven't watched the teaser for Black Adam yet. I know that it popped up there as like the next recommended video. I saw a couple leaked photos. Somebody who's working shared photos of the costumes, of Black Adam's costumes, and a couple of different Hawk helmets, and they look fantastic. Or the Hawk helmets look fantastic. The Black Adam suit looks cool, but there's like a weird sleeve like ring thing he has right here, which like bugs me. I don't know what it's for. Maybe it's like a marker for the camera and like CGI, but I'm not entirely sure. But I'm in for it. I feel like this is going to be one of those movies where The Rock just has fun, and so I'm good for that. All right. It looks like we're gonna go. Let's do Ruby Rose. Let's go for Miss Rose. $5 super chat, Australian from Ravool. Ethan Van Sciver was right about everything. He generally is. I think the only thing he's kind of been off on was his claims that like DC would be folding in the next year or so, because the time scale keeps moving, or he doesn't keep moving the time scale, but the time for that to happen keeps moving because it's already way past the date he said. But again, it's all rumors. He's got inside contacts. Who knows how things change? I would say Van Sciver has been on point about like 99% of the things he's talked about. Oh man, everybody's saying the Black Adam teaser was really, really good, huh? So, all right, I guess I need to check that out later. Again, I would watch it with you guys right here, but they'll ding us, and John is not a fan of us getting dinged for this, or get our streams getting dinged. There's all the Bruce Timm animated series, right? Like, why don't you just use that as an inspiration for everything? Just go off of that. Ruby Rose should have filed a lawsuit already. Let the court papers do the talking. Yeah, dude, I actually kind of agree with that. So let's get into this just for people who might not have been up to date with all the news all day. So late last night, early this morning, Ruby Rose took to her Instagram account to basically just slam Warner Brothers and the CW and the production team behind Batwoman, alleging things like sexual misconduct from one of the executives who has since left WB. That was that was one of them, but the bigger ones were safety concerns. There were lots of talks. She talked a lot about how Warner Brothers allegedly was threatening her to come back to set as soon as she could after her neck injury. Apparently, a PA was left paraplegic, and they tried to bury it and blame her for it and cut off her medical support. What's that called? Her healthcare, and all this kind of just insane stuff. And it is completely different from the narrative that she was going around in the press talking about. Because if you guys remember, the big narrative for the longest time, or not the big narrative, but the narrative about her exit was it was amicable. I talked with everybody. We worked it out together. And I just decided that with the COVID schedules and because the schedule's getting modified because of COVID, it's not going to work with my schedule. So I'm unfortunately going to have to leave. everything's cool. I'm fine. If they want me back, I could come back. If all I got to ask. That was kind of like the big amicable narrative that was being promoted. Unfortunately, as we see, like, or not unfortunately, but contrary to what she was saying, now Rose is saying that that was all a lie. That was all PR talk that she had to do in order to keep the DC wheel grinding, right? Like the and she also claimed that she got just tons of flack from people for wanting to heal up after her injury, which, if true, is just like, why would you not let your actress heal after like such a severe injury? It's pretty insane. And then there was also just lots of mistreatment there. Like, that's the big thing. While Peter Roth, the named executive, did or has been alleged to have committed some sort of sexual misconduct with an unnamed actress, Ruby didn't say. The bigger pile of accusations are like mistreatment and safety concerns. Is Ruby Rose a they then? Did she change her pronouns? If she did, everything is wrong that I've read. I admit I like Ruby Rose a lot more now. Oh yeah, if you can take a stand, I'm all for anybody who takes a stand against mistreatment, especially by corporations and studios and all this crap. Because stop letting them get away with it. They've never made good enough product to get away with it. Like, that's just straight up. They've never made good enough product to get away with it. They made better product that made us ignore it. But now at this point, it's all the chickens are coming home to roost. Yeah, volume dealer, it's in here. I'll get to it. Don't worry. I'm Bunny with the keyboard. Whether Ruby Rose or the CW in general, anyone involved in creating Batwoman is guilty of unforgivable crimes involving the fracture of this fragile reality. The old ones are one step closer to rising. Oh, with each new season, Ryla moves more into position. It becomes more accessible to humans. Trust me, it's coming. Who are we? Oh, what movie? So Zax and Sean are talking about Ezra. I liked him in a movie where he plays a completely unlikable teen psycho. What movie was that? He was actually, I've seen that. He was good in that. Carol, Sean the Movie Man 71. Carol Dry's Batwoman showrunner has virtue signaled for 3 years now about diversity, female empowerment, and Ruby Rose just ripped the curtain on the hypocrisy. Oh, dude, I don't know if anybody, I mean, why would you? You're not you're not running the site like I am, but a lot of the replies to our news story on this is what happened to Believe All Women? What happened, Warner Brothers? You promote that all the time. What happened now? Yeah, we have to talk about Kevin. That's what it is. We have to talk about Kevin. Good movie. Yeah, I don't. So I guess she is a they them. I don't know. I'll have to look that up. Until then, I'm sticking with she. Yes, the Kevin one. Yeah, Zax is on it too. Yeah, fantastic movie. But so Ruby Rose comes out late last night, makes all these statements. Then, sorry, just grabbing some water. Then today we had Warner Brothers fire back at her with a statement of their own. So couple hours, probably about 3 hours or so, 6 hours after the story, like everybody started running the story, Warner Brothers came out and said, quote, despite the revisionist history that Ruby Rose is now sharing online aimed at the producers, the cast and crew, the network, and the studio, the truth is that Warner Brothers Television had decided not to exercise its option to engage Ruby for season 2 of Batwoman based on multiple complaints about workplace behavior that were extensively reviewed and handled privately out of respect for all concerned. So it is very much, it's an interesting sort of statement because it is a denial, which is just typical corporate denial, right? Like of course they're never going to admit that they did anything, especially in a public forum, but they also take that swing at her, which is very interesting. Because it is kind of what you guys were saying a couple minutes ago. It's instead of going like, hey, we're going to live by the virtues that we signaled, and we're going to say that, oh, Ruby may have experienced this, or we want to hear her out, blah, blah, blah. You just straight up went, oh, no, she's revisionist history. And that's like a big sort of insult. That's not just saying like she might be confused or gotten things wrong. You're just straight up calling her like a liar, like an intentional going into the history, scribbling things out and putting things in liar. And that's huge. I have no idea how that would pan out for them. It can't be great because like it just seems very corporate and typical to me. Obviously, they have to. It's different from what we saw with Ray Fisher, because they sort of treated him a little more amicably and nicer than this. They never straight up said like you're lying, bro. They used the nice corporate speak around it. So I don't know what that infers. It's just something interesting that I noticed. Yeah, that's I'm kind of with you there, Nerdigans. And somebody said it a couple minutes ago when I was coming to the subject. Court papers speak louder than the Instagram posts. Show us something. I would love for somebody to be able to corroborate the story. Obviously, there are people named, or not named, but mentioned by Rose in her post. There are like the purportedly paraplegic PA is somebody. There is the actress that Peter Ford or Forth or whatever his name is, or Peter Toth, allegedly harassed or whatever. Like, so there are people that Rose is saying could back this up, and I would love to see it, honestly, because while I don't know, here's the problem with like the court papers argument is that I don't know what's actionable here. I don't know what kind of contract she signed. I don't know, like, this, to me, at least on a surface level, this doesn't violate, or sorry, what am I saying? Like, I don't know, depending on how long it's been, I don't know if any of those injuries are actionable or how she signed it away or what she did with them. So I don't know if this is anything that you can take to court, but I think this is definitely something that you can corroborate and, if true, provide enough evidence and pressure to eventually get the company to say, yeah, we lied, or at least some sort of, not apology, because they would never apologize, but some sort of walk back, some sort of what is it that you put on news articles, like an edit or a note at the bottom of the article. Sean the Movie Man, I'm no fan of Ruby Rose, but I believe most of what she says about her experience and WCB. I'm no fan of Ruby Rose, but I believe most of what she says about her experience, and WB's statement seems very weak. I'm kind of leaning towards you there, especially because we do know that like she backs it up with a lot of like time evidence. Like, for example, one of the things she talks about is after she got the scar, or after she got her neck injury that we all know about, she has a scar now. Like, you can see it in like candid photos, or if you go on her Instagram or whatever. But she claimed in these posts yesterday that so this is actually, if true, this is something I find particularly messed up. Apparently scheduling conflicts got, because of the COVID thing, it all got screwed around in 2019, or not COVID, but just production schedules got screwed around in 2019. And it made it so Rose was unable to attend Comic-Con, and she really wanted to, she was really excited. But DC or WB was like, nah, there's just no time. We can't do it. Oh, and also you have to go tell them that you're not attending. Like, you have to make a video or a statement. And she was like, why? I don't want to, like, why do I have to do it? Why can't you do it? And DC straight up was like, well, if you don't do it, people are just going to show up and we're not going to say anything. They're just going to show up and find out you just weren't there. So she went out and she made this video where she goes, hey guys, very typical celebrity hello video. Like, hey guys, so sorry I can't be there at Comic-Con. I would love to be, but unfortunately, yeah, blah, 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 blah. In that video, it was filmed after she had gotten her neck injury, but there's no scar right here, right? Like, there's just no visible anything. And Rose alleges that they demanded that she cover up her scar because otherwise it was unacceptable. So that kind of, to me, because you can see sort of moments where it is corroborated by events that have happened, I'm leaning more towards Rose. But again, I would need to see, before I can strongly declare like Rose is right and WB is lying, I would need some corroboration, or a couple corroborations, honestly. Oh yeah, Ballmug. Ruby was all in on pissing all over the Batman legacy. Let's not forget that first trailer for the Batwoman show. It will, when she looks at the bat suit and she says, somebody says like, it's perfect or something. And she goes, it will be when it fits a woman. So it is kind of really funny, Balmung, that she does note that like, oh, they're destroying Batwoman, and it's like, well, your show was predicated on destroying the legacy of another character anyway. So what are we really doing here? I also so I don't know if you guys read the articles I've been putting up about the Rose situation, but all the images I've used are from the Crisis on Infinite Earths crossover that they did like a year or two ago, or actually just earlier this year and late last year, because it's the only episode that I can really stand. She's not, the show is the show is crap. The character's kind of crap. She plays a really weird role in Crisis. Like it would have made much more sense for Batman, not Batwoman. And that's not like a gender thing or a thing against Rose. It's just like character wise, like I feel like the role was written for Batman and then quickly given to Kate, kind of like the entire identity and the entire suit. But yeah, I'm definitely with you there. Yeah, Nerdigans, like that's the thing. Like it does violate these labor laws. There are definitely like OSHA standards that are being violated and all this kind of stuff. It just depends on how, like, what did Rose sign? That's the biggest thing to me, is did she sign something that said you can't come after us for this, or hey, we're gonna bury this, we're gonna NDA this, we're not gonna talk about this, but we're gonna pay for your medical bills. We're not gonna talk about this, but we're gonna pay for the quadriplegic PA's medical bill. Maybe something happened like that. I don't know, but that's why I think she goes to a public forum before going to a court. At least in my opinion, that's what I'm seeing. Yeah, and then Balmung, yeah, don't blame an actress for bad writing unless she wrote it or insisted it be added. I'm not defending her, but you have to remember she's an actress who reads lines. The showrunner and writers were responsible for the terrible storyline in that show. Definitely, I think you guys have a point too. I think Balmung also has a point, because it kind of goes back to what Young Ripa says, what John is starting to sort of promote a lot, which is you have the ability as an actor to say no to a role or voice input, right? So while I'm with Sean and Bunny that yes, a lot of what was written, like she probably didn't know everything she was going to say or how it was going to go, and she just got her direction to be told what to do. I think Balmung's also got a point where she did sort of play up that angle at the very beginning, leaning very hard into the I'm a female Batman. I'm this and that. Yeah, Nerdigans, that's the big thing, because Ruby Rose didn't file anything when it happened, and she's coming out now. That's why I'm suspicious. That's the big thing. There's so many questions, like why is this happening? Why now? Why then? Why any of this stuff? So I don't blame you for being suspicious. Again, I'm with you there. That's why I can't just throw my entire support behind Rose. Ruby Rose probably had her NDA expire, is why she's speaking up now, but that's just my speculation. So typically, NDAs don't expire that fast. They don't, she just left Batwoman and the Arrowverse like last year. So they typically don't expire that quickly. And companies typically don't make short NDAs. NDAs typically last for years. Like I know you can get like upwards of 10, depending on, it all depends on just how they filed it, how they want it, what the terms are, blah, blah, blah. So I don't know. It might be NDA breaking. Warner Brothers didn't say anything about that. So again, there's just so many questions here, and we're getting no answers from anybody. That, like, the best thing to do right now, guys, is to sort of keep your mind open and watch both sides and not jump to conclusions. Because jumping to conclusions is how we get things like Jussie Smollett or Amber Heard, right? Like, remember, they all claimed these crazy things at the very beginning, and then we found out that, they're never happened at all. But there's also the chance that something like this could happen. Like the Ray Fisher thing still isn't resolved. So this probably could go anywhere. I don't want any of you, my good friends and viewers, to accidentally find yourself in a corner when you go, oh yeah, I totally supported them. Oh crap. DZ3, I'm more of the let them fight type of person. Who wins is none of my concern. Entertainment for now. That's kind of how I'm looking at it too. It's very funny because it's almost a smaller scale version of the Scarlett Johansson Disney lawsuit. Like it's a woman who a blonde woman who played a redheaded black suited character alleging mistreatment by the studio that was shooting it. And then the studio immediately, because remember the Disney one was super fast, like uncharacteristically fast almost, just like, oh, you're not getting away with this. So they're like both studios super quickly throw out statements like denying it. There's a lot of parallels, different whatchamacallit, set of circumstances, but lots of parallels. I do like that. But yeah, I'm the let them fight, let them just sink themselves. Oh, whoa. Chat wigged out on me. So yeah, that's the Ruby Rose stuff. It is developing. We don't really know kind of what's happening with it. It is where it is. Nerdigans and everybody kind of knows where we are. The one thing I did want to point out that I found really funny is, and I think it speaks to the quality of the show, for all of these articles, and especially for tonight's thumbnail for the Black Pill stream, I was looking for images of Ruby Rose. This was the search term: Ruby Rose Batwoman Batarang. There are no screenshots of it. Of course, I did not go through the 2 seasons of Batwoman to find it, but there are no scenes of her just like holding a batarang or like aiming a batarang. Every time there's a batarang, it's already being thrown. It's already in motion. I don't know. It's super weird and it's off-putting to me. That's really all I had to say about that. But how I think it speaks to the quality of the show is that if you're telling me that I can't find a screenshot of your main character posing with their main weapon, I think we have a problem here. Yeah, Nerdigans, I did see the Uncharted trailer leak. I did watch it. Yes, it's on Culture Crave Twitter. It's on Culture Crave's Twitter. If anybody wants to go see it. I am not excited. So first of all, I'm not an Uncharted fan. I don't like those games. I am one of those gamers who doesn't like. I don't like cinematic story like walking games that are all. And by that I mean games that are very much. You have to go down this linear path. We're like, this is the way to go. You have to play this way. You have to do this. They're movies. I don't like them. I'd much rather play a game where my input matters. I can play different. I can have different play styles, whatever. Not everything is completely scripted and has to happen the same way. That trailer just looks like it's literally that scene from the game, Nerdigans. It's the one where they're hanging out of the plane. It's literally that scene, just with Tom Holland. And I don't think Tom Holland's a good Nathan Drake. I don't know who okayed that casting. It is just not. I get Tom Holland's a hot thing because he's Spider-Man, but holy crap, what a bad casting. Like, pick almost any other male actor and it's a better fit. I like Uncharted, but Tom Holland is not Nathan Drake. That looks like the consensus here because that's from DZ and Nerdigans. Yeah, Tom Holland just looks like Tom Holland. And Tom Holland always looks like he's smuggling food in his cheeks. That's how he always looks to me. Like, oh, Tony. I don't know. I'm not particularly excited about it. I'm sure it'll be some people's cup of tea. I don't know. Yeah, go check it out on Culture Crave's Twitter. Chris Pratt would be a better casting choice. Yeah, Fillion. That's what I was thinking of, Sean the Movie Man. Like, Fillion would definitely be a better one. Hardy would probably, like, Tom Hardy would probably be a better Nathan Drake, to be completely honest. Maybe Sebastian Stan. Oh, I can definitely see Sebastian Stan as Nathan, especially if you take his, if you look at him from the first Captain America movie where he's got like, he's clean shaven, he's got the short hair because he's going off to the army. I think that's a good casting choice. But in other words, the financial sales records won't be charted either. Unfortunately, I think they will. People love Uncharted. I don't know why. It's pretty, but I know so many like game reviewers that I trust who I know aren't like sucking down whatever the mainstream is putting out. They love it. They cite the Uncharted series as like must play all the time, and I've played them. They're just not my cup of tea. Michael Fassbender as a I always find Michael Fassbender is more of a like older, wiser type of role, like the Magneto that he played, or the the detective in that really bad movie about the Iceman, about Richard Kuklinski. That's the kind of roles I always saw for a Fassbender. Yeah, people like Tom Holland. He's the hot thing right now, I guess. But again, like I'm trying to think, Nerdigans. He's the hot thing right now. I don't know. I don't know what else he can kind of point to. It's like, oh yes, he looked at that. It's another great performance. I know he's been in things. Nobody ever really talks about him. He was in that like there was that movie about like the monks he was in. There was Chaos Walking with Daisy Ridley that nobody talked about. So like I just think they're all kind of throwing their eggs into one basket before it's sort of ready to go. Oh, he was in Doolittle. Remember the awful Robert Downey Jr. vehicle? So yeah, people like Tom Holland. He's fine. He just hasn't blown me away yet to the point where I think he's the business. Uncharted got woke as hell in the 4th installment. Didn't that writer who wrote Last of Us 2 muscle his way in and force out the writer who made it so successful? I don't know if Neil Druckmann did Uncharted. Let me look that up. That sounds familiar, and you might be right. He was the director. Neil Druckmann is the director of all of those Uncharted games, I believe. No, yeah, he's the designer, writer for all of them. It looks like. So, yeah, I'm not surprised the 4th installment. Yeah, the 4th installment got woke. If anybody's played it, there are some ridiculous ass scenes with the female characters, like holding their own against Drake, like in a fist fight and against like goons. And it breaks the logic of the story because it's supposed to be realistic, right? You're portraying it as this real adventure in the real world. So now how is a woman fighting off 9 dudes on her own? Or even just fighting off Drake? The woman in question is like hyper skinny, like way skinnier than I am. And it makes no sense. It definitely did wokeify itself, Bombong. You're not wrong. I like Uncharted, but I prefer the old Tomb Raider series. Oh, dude, old Tomb Raider rules. Those were really fun. I wish those would get a graphical remaster. Nothing else. Keep the gameplay the same, but just make it not so blocky. But keep blocky Laura. You have to keep blocky Laura just for aesthetic's sake. Uncharted games, first game playing as an adult. That's awesome. That's not a bad reason to like them. Again, I have nothing against people who are fans of Uncharted. That's cool. That's for you. It's just not for me. So I don't particularly care about this movie. And I also, and Tom Holland being Drake or Nathan just makes me way more off-put than I already was. I feel like, Bunny with a keyboard, I feel like Tom Holland could be a fantastic Spider-Man if he grows up, ditches Michelle, and finds a woman who will support him like Mary Jane. So, yes, I actually do like Tom Holland's Peter Parker a lot. I think he gets the nerdy Ultimate Spider-Man kid aspect of it down really well. I'm not that big of an opponent against Michelle, but that might just be me. I'm into like sassy girls with dry wit who are always kind of taking the piss out of you. I think she could still support him like Mary Jane. We haven't seen them be together yet, so that's all for No Way Home to hash out. So we'll see. We will see. Obviously, I don't know how it's going to go, but it's the MCU, so hopes are not high. Also, like they're probably not going to have a lot of time to support or to explore her supporting him because there's like 90 people in this movie. Yep, just don't see it with Tom Holland. I've never understood. Yeah, see, DC3 wants a real Mary Jane too. Oh yeah, Neil got drunk on woke Kool-Aid. Neil is, dude, he's the guy mixing the woke Kool-Aid at the top of the Flavor Aid at the front of this woke video game People's Temple. Seeing the girlfriend constantly belittling a teenage superhero isn't good for anyone. Not the superhero, not the audience, not the actress's career. I can get that. But I don't see it as belittling. That's just personally me. It's just her being not, I don't know. She seems fine to me. She doesn't belittle him. She just kind of takes the piss out of him to me. And it's really not having an effect on her career. She got cast in freaking Dune. Like, that was weird to me. I didn't know why she was in Dune. Haven't seen it yet. I've heard really good things. But even then, Nerdigans, unless you served in the Israeli army or any army or was a black belt, again, it doesn't matter if you're super trained, if you've got like 9 guys on you. That's like or if you got multiple people on you. at some point you will get overwhelmed. We see it in every superhero movie where they go, I'll take them from here. And they're like, thank you. And they run and, Yep, that was the reason they changed from a son to a daughter. It was, why don't we, what if she was a daughter? And then they just wrote her like that. This version of Peter doesn't need the P taken out of him. People call him the Iron Boy because he's so unconfident, a good woman support. So I gotta completely disagree with this one. People call him Iron Boy because he's literally just following in Iron Man's footsteps. It's not about his confidence or anything. It's about the fact that his villains are Iron Man's villains. His supporting cast is Iron Man's supporting cast. He showed up in his movies are very Iron Man centric. They, even when he's dead, Far From Home, couldn't get away from the Iron Man influence. So that's why people call him Iron Boy. The thing about him needing it taken out of him or whatever, that's not really how I see this. It's not about like, this guy needs to be cut down a peg. It is a what is the right word? Like an outcast teenager being snarky. That's all it is. It's not about a good woman supporting him. I think you're looking way too far into that. Again, remember, they're teenagers. This is just a teenage relationship. And we haven't even seen really how it's played out. We've seen her messing with them and flirting and stuff, but we haven't seen them together. And I think most people who have been in a relationship here can probably do know that things like dynamics change as the stages of the relationship change or as time goes on. So I don't know. I have no problem with this MJ. I have a problem with the fact that they called her MJ and made her a different character. I have a huge problem with that. I don't really have a problem with anything else about her. Again, I like girls like that, so maybe that's why I don't have a problem. But you're getting consensus. Don't worry. I'm the odd man out here because we've got like Sean, DZ3, Ravul, I think a second ago just said, or no, DZ3 was the one who said with a real Mary Jane. So I'm the odd one out. Don't worry. I definitely recognize that I have the out opinion. Yeah, I don't know why they're trying to push Zendaya either. One of the things that, and this is such a weird thing to get upset about because the movie's awful, but Space Jam 2. Zendaya is the voice of Lola Bunny in that movie. But it's kind of like what I was talking about with Spider-Man earlier with Drake Bell and Josh Keaton. Lola's had a voice actress since she showed up in Space Jam, Kathy Soucie. And they got Kathy Soucie to come in and record all of her lines for Space Jam 2 as Lola. And then said, no, we're going to get Zendaya in here. And I don't know why. I don't really get the appeal. It's sort of the same thing I was saying about Tom Holland. Nothing I've really seen her do has blown me away or established her as like the thing to push, but it's there. So I'm with you there, Nerdigans. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, the Iron Man stuff, that's why he's Iron Boy. But yeah, we can totally agree to disagree. No hard feelings there. I prefer the Liz character 100 times more than the Oh, dude, Liz is beautiful. The actress who plays Liz is gorgeous, and she was a great character. And I'm really sad that we probably won't see her again because Liz out. Like, I don't know, Liz Allen is a longtime character in Spider-Man, and it would be nice to see her again. You can get like Molten Man and all that stuff. Yeah, she's a cutie. She's definitely a cutie. I don't know what the is that it? Like, if that's it, just tell me that's it. Tell me that's why you're promoting her. Otherwise, I'm just gonna be confused. See, but what's the political agenda with Zendaya? That's my question here. Because yes, we could make an argument that they're pushing Zendaya specifically for, woke, woman, black, but this is something that they do all the time. I mean, we literally just talked about it with Tom Holland. They pick actors that they like and they try to run that hot streak, right? Like an actor has a breakout moment, then you go, oh man, they're gonna be the next big thing. Let's push them. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Another person who got pushed really hard was Jeremy Renner to be Hawkeye. He was like, what was he in before? Right before Hawkeye, he was, or right before Thor. Yeah, he was in things like he was in the Hurt Locker, and then he was in The Town and Mission Impossible: Ghost Protocol, right? So you have this actor who's got some decent roles. He's up and coming. Ooh, let's push him. Let's get him in here. Let's make him our superhero. And Renner's just really not really had much of an exciting career after that. he's he's had a career, he's shown up and stuff, but how many other movies can you go, oh yeah, Renner, my man, he killed that role, or like, yes, he was the lead in that. Nothing. So I don't know if it's political with Zendaya. I think she probably just has really good agents, but I also I'm not seeing it take root. I'm just not. I'm definitely there with Nerdigans on it. Dude, I hated. Okay, so this is what's gonna piss. I'm pissed off about Lola. First of all, that movie altogether, awful movie. I watched the entire thing. Garbage. Just don't do it unless you are like super drunk, super high, and just want to feel bad about yourself, right? So in the movie, so I liked Lola Bunny from the first movie. I liked her as a character. I did as a kid when I first saw the movie. She and obviously as a kid I didn't get all the themes, but like nowadays, like I watched Space Jam, and Lola is I know the term is so overblown and overused, but I mean it in its like strictest sense. Like, she's a strong character. She doesn't really take any guff from anybody. She proves herself as a player, and she contributes to the team, and eventually like gets in with the Looney Tunes and is accepted, and everybody, yay! That's the end of the movie, right? Like, we all know how that goes. But in this movie, she is literally, or in Space Jam 2, she's literally just LeBron's like cheerleader. All of her lines are like, "I got you, LeBron. Get open, LeBron," or "You go, King." Like, it's bad, and so it's not even about being a strong woman who don't need no humor. It's about LeBron James bullshit. I have really no other way to put that. Oh yeah, I mean, so again, on Mary Jane, I prefer redheads too. I do really like redheaded women. And I'm very much against any swap, because I want an adaptation. I want to see the characters I grew up with on screen as I was introduced to them, and as I went through this journey with them as a kid. But so, like, yes, if she is Mary Jane, she should be redheaded, like white lady, or white girl. Like, I get that. I'm there with you. But what I'm saying is, looking at the situation as it is now, with the fact that like we have to accept that Zendaya is our love interest for Peter, like that's what I'm looking at. That's why, like, it doesn't really bother me. It's just a different character. I don't know. Like, I'm with you, but I'm also not with you. I think you guys know what I'm talking about. And if not, I will try to explain more. Yeah, Jeremy Renner wasn't Hansel and Gretzky Witch Hunters. Dude, I watched that. Get me that movie right now. We can save Quibi with it. Make that a Quibi exclusive. Holy crap. That would have been fantastic. I understand that he acts for fun, sort of. He used to, don't know if still, flips houses with his brother. Oh, Jeremy Renner? I can see that. I can definitely see that. I know that obviously there are a lot of actors who kind of just do lots of others, like their own hobbies on the side. I remember, like, I always think about Harrison Ford being a carpenter or like a woodworker on the side, and how he, like, that's what he was doing when Lucas approached him and said, "I want you to be Han." You know what I mean? Zendaya is overrated and bland. I'm sorry. Yeah, like, I'm kind of there with you, Sean. Bland is probably the best word. It's just, I think the only thing that makes her stick in my mind is the fact that she has one name, like her stage name is one thing, and I think that's probably the only reason I continually remember it. Yeah, Ballmung, he did do that Bourne movie. That came after Avengers, just for the timeline's sake. But yeah, he wasn't named Bourne. He was just some guy trained. It was dumb. I didn't like that entry. It was shot fine and it told a fine story, I guess, but it's not a Bourne movie. It's not Jason Bourne. I don't want a guy who's like Bourne. I want Bourne. Kind of like it's the same thing we get into with all of our favorite movies and films and TV shows and stuff. We don't want to see a sort of Captain America. We want to see Captain America. We want to see, like, Genus Vel Marble. Yeah, Nerdigans, I'm pissed about Lola because the director said that a woman can't be strong, smart, and sexy. As a busty woman, this is patronizing. Yeah, it was really weird that he said that, like, having sexual feminine qualities was, like, not strong. It's a very, again, wokeness is this big horseshoe theory that always gets back to the thing it thinks it's fighting against. You know, oh, you're all fascists. We're fighting against fascism. Well, now we don't want you to say any words. We don't want you to air any content that goes against what we say, and we don't want you to have a Twitter account if you don't agree with us, right? It's just like right here. We want to fight for strong women. We want to make sure women are treated equally or like better and have more opportunities. But you know what? We can't show any of them as attractive or having feminine qualities because that's sexist. That seems sexist to me. You know what I mean? It's all like that. That's what I'm saying, guys. Like, don't do the best you can to ignore the random people, like the random Twitterers who always have these stupid woke opinions. They are dumb. Ignore them. It's the best way to take the power away from them. I know it's harder with like executives who are making decisions and buying advertisements to promote their garbage into our face. But with like just like these regular people, like regular Twitterites, just avoid them. Just ignore them. We went over this. You and I talked about this the other day, Nerdigans, on one of the Bounding Babbles. Nicole Kidman is playing Lucille Ball in a movie about her. I think it's about her, I believe, like a biopic. They released the first sort of set photos. Does not look like her. Let me see if I can pull up a picture. It's really weird. Nicole Kidman as Lucille Ball. Oh, why are all the pictures tiny? I don't want this. I need real pictures. Here's the picture I'm thinking of. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Yeah, see, it's just Nicole Kidman with red hair. She doesn't look like Lucille Ball. I'm just not seeing it. Are you guys seeing it? Because I'm not seeing it. Oh no, I lost my StreamYard window. I'll find you again someday, chat. I'll never forget you. You were my friends. Yeah, okay, I'm back. I should zoom in. That's a little small. See, like it's just it feels like cosplay, I guess. It's just not. Yeah, see, and here's a comparison image put up by who is this? USA Today or is this the Today Show? Like there's our girl Lucille on the right, you know, Ricky and classic damsel of the screen. And then you got Kidman on the other side, who's just looking like Kidman. Didn't even, I don't know, her hair's just down. It's super strange to me. I'm just not all about it. Yeah, see, Nerdigans, I like Nicole Kidman as an actress. I do too. But again, just a miscast. It's all this miscasting. First I saw of, oh my gosh, I totally forgot about SWAT. Jeremy Renner, SWAT. I totally forgot he was in that. Dang, that's like 2002, 2003. I know Samuel Jackson's in that movie. That's awesome. Yeah, can't even get the right shade of red. Can't even like curl it a little more. It doesn't look like she tried. Again, just looks like cosplay to me. Yeah, exactly, DC3. Unless their corporations are famous, because then you can't ignore them. Then criticize them. Don't let them. I know this seems so drastic and overdramatic, but like, don't let them get away with their stuff. Hold them to task. Throw them the receipts. Throw them everything. Don't give them that count. And again, you don't have to spend all your time. Don't go getting in. You know, you have so much time in a day. You should do it, like spend it doing things you enjoy, right? Read some manga, play some or watch some anime, watch an old Western cartoon, go read some back issues, play a video game, hang out with some friends, whatever. Do that with most of your time. But give these people a piece of your mind. You know, go to the blue check mark, go to the whatever, say you're stupid, this is why, I disagree, and just get your voice out there and then done. Don't engage with anybody, because it's just going to end in you and them going at each other for like an hour with nothing happening. Trust me, I've done it before. It's just not worth it. And I care about you guys. I want you guys to make the most of your time, your precious time. What movie is this? This is I don't even know what the name of it is. Being the Ricardos, off of her husband in the I Love Lucy. But yeah, it's just a Lucille Ball biopic. It's currently in production. Nicole Kidman is set to play Lucille Ball, and Nerdigans and I were just kind of talking about how this is not right. This doesn't sit right. It's just a feels like a half-assed effort, if you would. Like they got the actress and then they went, eh. The redhead who played in Will and Grace would be Deborah Messing. She would be I think she'd be a great Lucille Ball. She's a little wokeified, but who isn't in Hollywood these days, right? So yeah, no, I think that would be great. Yeah, I'm with you there, Luigi. They do not want to use wigs for whatever reason. Acting is supposed to be pretend. Acting is supposed to be to pretend is something that I think everybody needs to remember with all the craziness going around us these days. But yeah, I don't know why you don't give her a wig. I don't know. It's Nicole Kidman, man. She's been in Hollywood forever. She knows how this stuff goes. I feel like she'd be down to get her hair curled, right? Like, and I know, guys, I know Lucille Ball didn't always have her hair up like that, and there are different looks, but I feel like that's the main one. The main one is just her curly hair. I even searched Lucille Ball on like Google. Dude, straight up, here's a photo of of Belle right before she passed, or like shortly before she passed. Even then, red, like super red curls. So when I look at that Kidman photo, I just see I see curls on the bottom, like volume and poof on the bottom, and that's it. And it's just not good. I'm there with Luigi. At the very least, get a wig. At the very least. Dude, I love this, guys. Bunny with the keyboard. In my headcanon, Ricky comes in, takes one look at the doppelganger, and yells out the window, "Lucy, you got some splaining to do." Dude, hell yeah. That would be fun. See, I like that. That's fun. Yep. Whoever's the on-set hairstylist and colorist needs to be fired stat. I don't think it's really been promoted. I didn't know that any of these photos even came out until the other day when I was talking with Nerdigans. So we'll see what happens. I don't know. When I see low effort put in on like at this stage of your production, it doesn't make me confident in these other stages of your production. Like just, yeah, see, still not good. At least dye it the right color. Luigi, yes, biopics are bound to be wrong. They did the same thing about rock music bands. Leaving Neverland is terrible, and I don't care about Michael Jackson. I do love the rock takes of his song. So Leaving Neverland is different. That wasn't so much a biopic as much as it was just those two guys trying to continue their case against Michael Jackson, which we do not have the time to totally like get into. There's so many twists and turns. But more of a biopic would be something like, Queen, Freddie Mercury, Bohemian Rhapsody. The one with Rami Malek. That's a biopic, and that is exactly a good example of what you're talking about, how it's bound to be wrong, because they took so many things in that story and just chopped them out, cut them away, just changed how events happened. And yeah, so it's very rare that you get a biopic that's actually like a biopic and not like how I wish it had happened, you know? Dang it, why is my camera going on weird for that? Oh well. Let's see. Yeah, no, drag queens do put more effort into this. Just like how we always complain, like, and by we I mean like me, John, and you, our lovely audience, how we always complain about Faye in the Netflix Cowboy Bebop. We always say like, man, cosplayers could have done a better job than this. Same principle. There's probably a ton of drag queens who have like based their character on Lucille Ball, and they probably did it far better than any of this. Yeah, I definitely recommend checking out Razor Fist Rageaholic stuff on it, because there's several videos. He's been on it for a little bit of time. Yes, documentaries use found videos and do interviews. That is exactly what a documentary is. But a biopic is a movie, like it's telling that person's life story as a movie. So it's like a movie version of that story. That's the big difference between documentaries and biopics. Yeah, so just yet another case of Hollywood crapping on us. Let's see, we got 15 minutes left here. What do we want to look at? What do we want to touch upon real quick? We've got some fun stuff, some neat stuff. Yeah, I guess, you know what? Let's just finish out on Superman. I know that I talked about it a little yesterday, but we can get into it here because there is another thing I want to discuss about this run. So you all saw, I'm sure everybody's seen by now, the other day during Fandom, DC announced that the American way is officially leaving Superman's motto. He will no longer fight for truth, justice, and the American way, but he will fight for truth, justice, and a better world. And according to DC Chief Creative Officer and publisher Jim Lee, and also one of my favorite artists, I just got to throw that out there. I love Lee's artwork. It was done to be more inclusive and kind of show that he's a superhero for the world rather than just America, right? And yes, as lots of people have pointed out, his motto has changed over the years. It hasn't always been the American way. Let me find our good friend Script Doctor, who I miss with all my heart. He made a tweet earlier today. He's not dead. I just haven't seen him in a while. Where he listed out, I saw this. Come on, give it to me. Give it. There we go. So yeah, he's had a few phrases over the years. Let's see. We've had in 1940, fights a never-ending battle for truth and justice, and then we get the American Way one in the 40s, and then in 48, he fights in the interests of truth, tolerance, and justice, and then in 73, truth, justice, and peace for all mankind. So, and then as this commenter points out, in the comics back in 2018, Superman renounced his American citizenship. That was not 2018. That was actually 2009, 2010. It was very, very early in everything. It's a very bad storyline. Superman renounces his American citizenship and then goes on a walk across the country to find out what the real America is about. I don't know, it's very dumb, but they've changed the slogan, and obviously it's for John, Superman's son, which is, again, it's another one of those disingenuous moves they get to pull by Superman's not this, like Superman's bi and doesn't fight for the American way anymore. They get to make those headlines, but also like try to appease us, the hardcore fans, by going, but it's not really Superman, it's another Superman. But then that's just insulting to the people they're trying to appeal to. You know what I mean? Like, oh, we're not good enough for the real one. You have to give us a hand-me-down. He's going to be by Superman now instead of just Superman. Like, they're just shooting themselves in the foot. But one of the things I wanted to touch upon with this whole change, because yes, like I said yesterday, I personally think, despite all the changes, it should be fighting for the American way. I think we need to remember and honor Superman's legacy and history as not only an American immigrant in the comics, or adoptee, however you want to frame it, however you want to look at that on his rocket coming to Earth. Not only do we need to honor that, but we need to honor the background of the people who made him, of the creators who created him as an American superhero at a time when, we needed that sort of morale back in the period between World War I and World War II. So I think fighting for the American way is a positive thing. And again, I touched upon this. It's just like Captain America when he says he fights for, I'm not fighting for the flag, I'm fighting for the ideals. And I think those ideals perfectly encapsulate both Cap and Superman. You've got, yes, does this country have problems? It does. All countries are going to. That's just a fact of life. But we are also we're a freer nation than most. We are we have so many options and opportunities and access to things here. So when he fights for the American way, I see Superman fighting for things like the ability to carve your own destiny, the ability to make life what it is for you, and for cameras to not go blurry for some reason, whatever. For freedom, for the ability to just be. And I think that's so, that's why isn't that why they save us, like superheroes save us from Galactus or Necron, right? Like, they want us to just keep existing. They want us to just be, and they want us to have the best chances at it. And that's what I think. America's got its problems and we've had issues, but that's the core. The core of this country doesn't change. That's what we all strive for. That's what we as Americans try to promote and carry with us in our everyday lives. So it's a huge point of virtue signaling for the American way to get dropped, especially when you have to do it with like an announcement. I haven't done any research into this, but like I don't remember reading the old runs from like the 70s and the 40s. I don't remember any sort of like, in this issue, new motto. Like that's the virtue signaling part about it. Like that's the signal. Is if they just dropped this in the book and they left it alone and Tom Taylor didn't go do a bunch of interviews and it was just fine, it would be dumb. It would be like a piece of virtued. It would be like a virtue decision, but it wouldn't be a signal. It would just be in the book. Don't know if that I'm not really sure it makes that better, but it just is what it is. Bonnie's completely right. The better tomorrow will be when all the woke people are gone from DC and they retcon everything back to decent, then start telling fun and interesting stories again. Yes, I don't know when it's going to be, but we absolutely need that ASAP, or at least get rid of Tom King. Just get rid of Tom King. Yeah, exactly. They changed it now for a reason. There's a reason, and it's the Americanness of it. Like we see it so often. It is the current narrative is to be ashamed of your country. And I don't agree with that. Again, I'm not as like blindly patriotic as some people, you know, but I am patriotic, but I still criticize the problems we have, but it's still like, it's America. You guys know, like I just went through, like it's freedom, it's all this stuff. And even if we don't get it right, it's what we strive for. And that's what I think we should always be striving for. Yeah, that's exactly it, Balma. Interesting how despite all the changes to that slogan over 80 years, the one with the American way is what most people remember to this day. That's the thing, is once something like that, oops, I didn't mean for it to go away. Once something like that becomes so ingrained with a character's being, you really can't just go in willy-nilly and change that. The example I gave yesterday was Mary Jane and Spider-Man. That was a relationship that was built up since the 60s. It finally culminated in the 90s after toiling and troubling and just so long of everybody knowing like Peter and MJ. Then they get married in the 90s and they have a family and they're together. And then Joe Quesada comes in the late 2000s and goes, nobody in the world can relate to a Spider-Man who's married, who it just ages him too much. It bogs him down. So they retconned it with One More Day. And what happened? I'll say it, I'll include myself, all of us lost our minds because it was a dumb decision. You took away this piece of a character, like this piece that became important to the character, that became essentially the character. Those are the pieces you don't really want to swap around. You want to swap around villains, you want to swap around locations, costumes maybe, fine. But it's the changing of core characters that will not stick. That's how Balmung, like Balmung's point right here is exactly why this is a virtue signal, because they have to know that this is the one people know. Unless you are like intentionally covering your eyes and your ears, there's no way you don't know truth, justice, and the American way. Like it's just pop culture now, even if you don't know it's Superman. So yes, this is all a signal. It's all futile. Don't like it's bad. It's a dumb decision. I have objections because they have Apollo already, not to mention the homosexual Batman. And are you talking to John Kent being bi? And then both Apollo and Midnighter were heavily promoted for a time. Yes and no, they were promoted. So they started out at Vertigo on the Authority, or was that Wildstorm? It was Vertigo. It was Vertigo. Or was it? I don't freaking know anymore. I don't know anymore. It was, but they were on the Authority. And they kind of became, the more adult versions of Batman and Superman because they could kill and they could fight and stuff, or like they could be brutal and violent and whatever, because that's what that line was for. And then they brought Apollo and Midnighter into the DCU with the New 52, and they promoted him, but not specifically because like, ooh, they're the gay ones. It was more like, these characters, we know they're popular. Like they're here now. Come read our books. They're here now. see, Superman is gay now, but it's not really Superman. It's like saying she's not pregnant, she's just with child. No. This is more like saying, gosh, how is this? She is pregnant, but not really. Like that's what it is. It's the if we want to use this equivalent, it's a hysterical pregnancy where everybody's acting like it's real, everybody believes that it's real, but in the end, there's nothing growing inside of you. You just sort of made it up in your mind. Yes, Mitch. I recall South Park. Cartman said he made the world a better place, and Kenny replied, "For you. You made the world a better place for you." That's exactly what these, like the activists, are doing. They don't care about making a better world for everybody else. It's only for their specific clique. They don't have empathy for you if you don't think one-to-one like them. Like, these are the kinds of people who, let's say you are a full-blown, like, super hardcore MAGA Trump supporter, right? Totally cool, totally fine. Support who you want to support. But these people would not help. Like, if you were broken down on the side of the road in the middle of the night and it's raining and you need help, they're not going to stop for you. They do not care. They hate you. They don't want to help you. They want you gone. Right? Changing what the character stands for and their values is the same as erasing the character. Absolutely. It is absolutely just slapping. It is making a new character and slapping a skin on him and saying, this is Superman. This is Batman. And oh, look, my camera came back. That's weird. Just totally, completely awful. Don't do it. Just stop changing these cores and these values. Unless the only reason you change somebody's core values and stuff is if you need to commit to that character being a heel turn, like Maxwell Lord. You know, we knew Max in Justice League International was just like an 80, like he kind of is in Wonder Woman 84. He's like the slick talker. I'm here to facilitate business. But then you find out near Infinite Crisis that he's a freaking madman who just wants to kill everybody. That's cool because, I'm sure Maxwell Lord fans were upset, but it's not like DC went, oh, just kidding, we're going to make him normal again, because it's all marketing stunt. Like this, that's the hard part about this, guys, is that all these changes, we know that they're just marketing stunts. We know that, but it doesn't make it any less annoying or disrespectful when they do that. You know what I mean? Like, yes, you need to market your books. Yes, you need to stay relevant, but there are ways to do it without absolutely crapping over everything that came before. Look at, again, I hate to be one of those people, but like, look at the East, look at manga, look at anime, look at video games. You don't always need to just crap over something to make it, like, to get it taken seriously. Exactly, Mitch. These aren't characters to them. They're just costumes. That's perfectly what they are. They're costumes for them to wear. Every character immediately becomes their own personal mouthpiece. The second these like new creators, like NU creators, get a hold of the book. That's what I'm saying. Right. I'm Superman. Sure you are, kid. What are you, 15? You better leave before the real Superman shows up. That's what I'm talking about. Like, people know. And the biggest thing, like one of the big things here that you can see, especially with this push of John, is that all the characters they always try to do this crap with they're gay now, or sorry, not they're gay now, but like, here's our gay, like we're introducing a new gay character, or we're introducing a new Batman. What they never ever, they do the Zack Snyder thing. They don't take their time. They just shove that character into the book and go, because they are here, you need to like them. You need to understand that, or you need to know that they're powerful and they're your favorite character now. Just only reason is because they're here. When I think about a lot of the mantle passes in the past from character to character, whether it was Batman passing it to Dick when he died, the cowl to Dick when he died, whether it was Spider-Man passing the webs to Ben Reilly, whether it was Wally taking up the mantle of the Flash after Barry sacrificed himself in in Crisis on Infinite Earths. The thing connecting all those is that the Ben Reilly, Wally West, Dick Grayson, these are all characters who were established. We got to know them as a person, not just as Batman TM, right? Like, so we know it means more to us as readers, and And even if you don't agree with the change, you can see more of how it makes sense in a narrative perspective if it's this long-running character who's always sort of been here and not just a, here we go, yours now. Because that's what John is. Yes, John Kent has been around for a couple years now. Like this specific iteration has been around for, I don't know, like let's say 3 or 4 years. But he spent most of his time as Little John in the Super Sons, right? Little John, hell yeah. He spent most of that time in the Super Sons being a kid. And then just recently they did the whole go to the future, come back, now you're like a teenager and you're Superman. Like right there, like what did he's done nothing to earn it except for exist as Superman's son. And that's just, it doesn't work like that. Superman would train him. I don't like it. You need to, if you want to do this with your characters, if you want to have a legacy character, introduce that character years before you want to do anything with them. Years before. Or if you really need a legacy, go dig into those vaults. There are so many side characters that have been dropped over the years, or heroes that have just been lost to time. Judas Traveler is a villain from Marvel, right? He was a Spider-Man villain during the Clone Saga. Marvel just literally abandoned, like they just stopped writing him. His last appearance is him like exiting the room to like, I'm gonna go do my plan, and he's just never shown up again. They've never addressed it. So to that end, like that's what I'm saying is that there are just characters out there, and that you can use for this instead of trying to push these new dumb ones. Because it's also like it's the whole. It almost echoes the sentiment of new fans coming into established fandoms and trying to push everybody around and get their way. It's like we know who these characters are. We've been with these characters forever. We know what the cowl means, or we know what the Green Lantern ring means to somebody, to what it means to be a Flash or to be Captain America. And we've spent time with these characters, these stories. Then you have Riri or Miles Morales, or you have oh my gosh, I'm blanking on the John is who I was thinking of. You have these characters who just appear and you're told that they're this now. Of course you're going to be confused and you're going to be put off, because it's like, what do you mean? You can't just come in here and say this is that now. Like you can't just change. It's the hardest sell in the freaking world, and it never happens. War Machine, Rhodey, he was in Iron Man for a while before he even got his own suit of armor. Before he, like, it's just, that's what I'm saying, guys. Just stop agendaizing everything. Introduce new characters and let them either be new heroes with new powers whatsoever, or unconnected to these legacy heroes. It's just really bad. Let's see. I know I got a $5 super chat from Ravula Vita. Thank you, my friend. Spy X Family sells 12 million copies. Manga greater than DC and Marvel. Oh yeah. There's lots of debates this week about the manga versus comic book sales issue again, as there always is. But don't. It's always going to be. It is manga right now. It's not. It's a healthy, or I don't know. You guys can see the stats. The chart that Comic-Con put out showed that books did a little better this year, or in the last sales period, but it's also just with a lot of speculation because they don't have DC's numbers, and the trend before that is kind of angling down. So I don't really want to trust it, but I'm with you, Ravul. Manga greater than DC and Marvel all the time. The future state Justice League show up and are LGBT. They already have a Justice League queer. It's made of just like it was in that Pride issue. They joined together to stop some villain from attacking a Pride parade. I don't know, it was weird. When what's his name aged him, I knew that they will damage John Kent. Oh yeah, as soon as they revealed that the what was he going as at the time, like not Vertigo, something like that, turned out to be Jor-El, like it turned out to be Superman's dad. That was the second I knew they're going, like, this is going to get bad. This is going to get awful. Like a bad decision is coming, because it's like, oh, you're bringing back Superman's dad, which is kind of like bringing back Uncle Ben, and you're making him this grim, dark, edgy, oh, there's no reason to save these humans. Like, come on boring and a spit to the legacy of Jor-El. I was gonna say Superman, but to Jor-El. Superman Jr. has not fought even one supervillain yet. No, he's fought more supervillains as a kid than as like the teenager Superman Jr. he is now. Yes, dude, Nerdigans, absolutely start covering the Oricon rankings. I would. They're just really hard to parse, especially when you've got millions of things on your plate every day as it is. But I definitely think you should. Somebody's got to be out there covering that stuff. It's good info. It's good content. All right, guys, it is 9:09. We went a little over, so I think we're gonna call it here tonight. I want to thank everybody for hanging out with me tonight. I had so much fun. I mean, just look at the fact that we didn't get to any of our topics for like the first 2 hours of the show, right? That was incredible. I had so much fun talking to you guys. Let's see. What do we have going on? John will be back in the saddle tomorrow, so we're going to get more of his reporting back on the site, which I love seeing his name under those headlines. Depending on how things go, we might have a Bounding Babble tomorrow. Might not, and it might be just John. It might be just me. It might be both of us. Who knows? We'll see how the day goes. Aside from that, personally, you can find me on Twitter at Kabuto Rider Mav. You can check out my YouTube channel at Kabuto Studios. Really simple search up there in the search bar. I've been doing a lot of video game streams lately, so I'll be doing another one tomorrow. Come on, hang out, talk. Just like this. It's basically just like this, but playing video games. I want to talk to you. I want to hang out with you. Let's get into what you want to talk about. But aside from that, obviously next Wednesday, another Black Pill stream. I can't wait to see all of you there. And until then, I hope you have a great night and take it easy, everybody. Thanks for stopping by.